One of California's original 27 counties, Los Angeles County, was established by the state legislature on February 18, 1850. Los Angeles County has the largest population of any county in the nation, more than 10 million people, a population exceeded by only 8 states. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors provides services that affect the lives of all county residents. Some of the services are law enforcement, public health protection, social services, parks and recreation, flood control, elections, cultural activities, regional libraries, recording of births, deaths, marriages, and real estate transactions. The county's healthcare system is the second largest in the nation, with 4 hospitals, 2 ambulatory care centers, 6 comprehensive health centers, 11 health centers, and more than 120 public-private clinics. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the largest in the world, houses more than 20,000 prisoners daily. Los Angeles County provides municipal services to all 88 cities. The following was recorded live from the Kenneth Hahn Hall of Administration, downtown Los Angeles. This program is closed captioned for the hearing impaired and available in Spanish.
Good morning. Everybody please find a seat. We're about to begin. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the LA County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, September 25th. We have 4 out of 5 present, and Supervisor Ridley Thomas will join us shortly. Chief Executive Officer is here, County Council, our Executive Officer, and your Sergeant at Arms, all here to assist. We'll begin with the invocation, which today will be led by the Reverend Gary Oba, who is the Senior Pastor of the West Los Angeles United Methodist Church from the 2nd District. And then the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Richard Mai, former Sergeant of the United States Marine Corps, who lives in Monterey Park in the 1st District. So those who are able, please rise for the invocation and the pledge.
Creator God, who brings order out of chaos, we give you thanks for the gift of life. We thank you for our health, relationships, and sense of purpose. We are grateful for the gift of living in such a beautiful region with nearby mountains, valleys, forests, and ocean. And we do not take for granted our blessed weather. We thank you for those whom you have called to lead. Our Board of Supervisors sifts through many complex issues that touch upon the lives of millions of people. Grant them strength and perseverance to carry out their duties. Give them the clarity and wisdom as they address the matters before them. May they apply equity and justice to every decision. May they retain their sense of joy and humor in the midst of their responsibilities. We pray on behalf of their constituents. We recognize the great diversity in the county and its many needs. We pray for good and honest government in the various towns, cities, and unincorporated areas that make up the county. We pray for all of the employees who serve the county. We pray for a good and productive meeting today. May a concern for the greater good override narrow interests. May all the parties involved in today's meeting treat each other with mutual respect. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow me to do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are in uniform, please salute, render salute, and if you're not, please put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's my great pleasure to thank the Reverend Gary Oba, Senior Pastor of the West Los Angeles United Methodist Church, for the invocation today. He was born in L.A., raised in the Crenshaw District. Are you a Dorsey High graduate? Me too. All right. Oh, it says right here, Reverend Oba is an alum of Dorsey High and UCLA. Much later than me, I'm certain. He received his Master of Divinity degree from the Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley. And for 6 years, Reverend Oba served as the district superintendent in Southwest Oregon, where he supervised 42 churches and 47 pastors. He served 7 years as the associate director of planned giving at the Claremont School of Theology. So please help me thank Reverend Gary Oba. Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to take this opportunity to thank Richard Ma, who served in the United States Marine Corps from 2001 to 2005. He is a first-generation Chinese-American who first immigrated to America at the age of 17 and is a resident of Monterey Park in the 1st District. He served in the Iraq War and was a part of the Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 and 2 campaigns. For his service, he earned the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal in Iraq, and Presidential Unit Citation Ribbon, amongst others. Mr. Mai achieved the rank of sergeant, and upon his honorable discharge, he returned to Monterey Park to pursue his educational goals. He is a graduate of the University of California, Irvine, with a degree in aerospace, aeronautical, and astronautical engineering. Mr. Mao has worked as an aerospace engineer and is currently a self-made businessman. He also serves on the American Legion Post 628, Executive Board member, and is a member of the Detachment 1347 Marine Corps League in East Los Angeles. It is today a great pleasure for us to recognize Mr. Mai and thank him and give him our appreciation for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you both very much. Madam Executive Officer, please call the agenda for today.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Today's agenda will begin on page 3, Special District Agenda. This is the agenda for the meeting of the Community Development Commission. On item 1D, members of the public requested that this item be held. On page 4, public hearings, items 1 through 11. On item 1, the Director of Public Works requests that this item be continued to November 27, 2018, as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On item 4, the Director of Public Health requests that this item be continued 1 week to October 2, 2018, as indicated on the posted agenda. On item 7, the Director of Planning requests that this item be referred back to her office, as indicated on the posted agenda, and the remaining items would be held for public hearing. On page 9, Consent Calendar, Board of Supervisors items 12 through 27. On item 13, Supervisor Billy Thomas requests that this item be referred back to his office as indicated on the posted agenda. On item 14, Supervisor Billy Thomas requests that this item be continued 1 week to October 2, 2018, as indicated on the posted agenda. On items 15, 16, and 19, members of the public has requested that these items be held. On items 22, Supervisor Barger and Supervisor Solis and members of the public request that this item be held. This item relates to item 25, and members of the public would be called up one time to address both of these items. On items 23, a member of the public has requested that this item be held. On item 25, Supervisor Barger and Supervisor Solis and members of the public request that this item be held. This item relates to item 22. On item 26, a member of the public requests that this item be held. On page 17, Administrative Matters, items 28 through 34. On item 28, the Interim Director of Health Agency requests that this item be continued 2 weeks to October 9th, 2018, as indicated on the posted agenda. On item 29, the Chief Executive Officer requests that this item be continued 2 weeks to October 9th, 2018, as indicated on the posted agenda. On item 30, the Acting Director of Health Services requests that this item be continued 1 week to October 2nd, 2018, as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On page 19, this includes miscellaneous additions to the agenda which were posted more than 72 hours in advance of the meeting, as indicated on the supplemental agenda. On items 32A and 32B, a member of the public requests that these items be held. The remaining items through 32B are before you.
Moved by Supervisor Barger, seconded by Supervisor Solis. Any objection to a unanimous vote of those present? Seeing none, that will be the action.
Also on the supplemental agenda under separate matters, item 32C is a recommendation to appoint Dr. Christina Galley as the Director of Health Services effective September 25th, 2018 at an annual salary of $275,000. On item 32C, a member of the public has requested that this item be held. On item 32D is a recommendation to appoint Ms. Antonia Jimenez as the Director of Social Services effective September 25th, 2018 at an annual salary of $329,644. On item 32D, a member of the public has requested that this item be held. On page 20, separate matters, item 35 is a recommendation to appoint Ms. Cecilia Zavala as the Executive Officer, Board of Supervisors, effective September 25th, 2018, at an annual salary of $262,911. On item 35, a member of the public has requested that this item be held. On page 25, items continue from previous meeting for further discussion and actions by the Board. On item A7, discussion and consideration of necessary actions on issues or actions taken by the federal government relating to immigration policies, Supervisor Solis requests that this item be held. That completes the reading of the agenda. Board of Supervisors presentations begin with the chair.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure today to welcome Myrna Cowley, Consul General of Lebanon in Los Angeles. She has served, thank you, you can applaud. I think that's quite wonderful. She has served as First Secretary and Interim Head of Post at the Lebanese embassies in Bahrain and Bulgaria. She was also Deputy Director of the International Organization Desk for the Human Rights Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigrants in Beirut. Prior to being appointed Consul General of Lebanon in Los Angeles, she served as Interim Head of Post of the Embassy of Lebanon in Athens, Greece. Consul General Cawley, if you ever have a craving for a little taste of home, our late food critic Jonathan Gold highly recommended Marouche Restaurant, which is in my district. Consul General Cawley, congratulations on your appointment. My colleagues and I, each and every one, wish you well as you work to fulfill your mission as Consul General of Lebanon in Los Angeles. Please give her a warm welcome. And say a few words to us, if you will.
Thank you.
Is this high enough for you?
Good morning, honorable members of the Board of the County, Madam Chair. I'm honored to be with you today as representing my country, Lebanon. I'm here not only to serve my people, but to strengthen the bond between the people of our country and your country, and also to have the best relations. I appreciate this welcoming today, and I'm sure that we will work together for the benefit of our people. Thank you very much. I know that Madam Chair said that the Marouche restaurant is good, but we have many others also in LA. I know that we have good food. I don't want to say the best, but we have good food, and I hope you are enjoying them in LA. Thank you very much. Thank you.
you so much. Joy. Thank you. Supervisor Hahn? Supervisor Hahn. He wasn't going to be here, so we put him last. Do you want to be now? Do you want to go now? Are they teed up? Okay. All right then, Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Pleased to ask Supervisor Solis to join me as we make this presentation to the one and only Maria S. Salinas. Give us a big round of applause. Won't you give her a big round of applause? We're both pleased to welcome her in recognition of her appointment as the new president and CEO of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, a pillar of our county's business community. As the oldest and largest business association in Los Angeles County, representing more than 1,600 member companies and serving the interests of more than 235,000 businesses across the LA region, the LA Chamber is fortunate to have Maria at the helm. And a lifelong Angelino she is, with decades of financial expertise and business management experience. Maria she brings to LA Chamber an ability to understand the needs, the challenges, and aspirations of businesses of all types and sizes. I know that to be true. In my conversations with her, she's made that abundantly clear, and she's ready to go to work and do exceptional things for LA County. An expertise that understands that the future prosperity of our county in part depends on whether or not we are creating an environment in which entrepreneurs and businesses alike can test new ideas, bring new products to market, and generate new business. Maria's varied experience in the private sector ranges from corporations to startups in a cross-section of industries, and those industries include leading in corporate governance, auditing, and compliance, as well as regulatory matters. Beyond her impeccable credentials and founding and running of her own consulting firm, that is Salinas Consulting, for over a decade, Maria comes to this role with an incredible vision. She hopes to, quote, take a bold role in bringing the chamber out to the communities, end quote, because businesses are not just found in downtown business districts. They are frequently the anchors of our communities, owned by and employing our own neighbors and community members. Previously, Maria held financial leadership roles with the Walt Disney Company, where she led a team responsible for global financial reporting, controls, and compliance. She's also the former chairperson of Pro-America Bank, a community bank in Los Angeles. She was a founding organizer and director, serving on the board since the bank's inception in 2006 until its sale in 2016, a full decade. Maria has considerable nonprofit board experience at Loyola Marymount University Board of Trustees. She's an alum. Kaiser Permanente School of Medicine and Board of Directors. Unidos U.S. Board of Directors and current chair and an appointed commissioner at the California Student Aid Commission. She is a founder of HOPE, Hispanos Organized for Political Equality, a leading statewide organization promoting advancement of Latinos, and that was founded in 1989. She holds a bachelor's degree in accounting from LMU and earned her CPA designation in 1989. And I look forward, as we all do, to partnering with the Chamber in a new presentation with a new leader as we continue to work together on many of the issues facing the county, from homelessness to the creative economy and more. everything in between that has drawn millions in our county and made our economy and business community the envy of the state and in many ways the nation. So Maria, on behalf of the County of Los Angeles, we wish you well in this new endeavor, and we wish for you to know that we are with you 150%. Now let's hear from Supervisor Hilda Solis. Supervisor?
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Ridley Thomas. What an honor and a privilege to be here before someone that I've known, I believe, more than 30 years, had to be back in the mid-'80s, and as well as her husband, Raul Salinas, who is here taking pictures. Wouldn't you know it? Both of them are distinguished leaders, and much has already been said about her academic background and her training. But knowing her personally and how she has dedicated herself to all of our communities, especially underserved communities, women-owned businesses, as well as minority-owned businesses, I can tell you we have a true friend at the Chamber. I know when she was appointed, she gave me a call and asked, Hilda, what do you think? I'm going to be taking on this charge. Give me your opinion. I said, oh my God, I am just delighted that we have someone at the helm who we know, who we respect, who is going to help us work together to continue our partnership on workforce investment and help provide recovery and restoration for individuals through programs that are already offered by the Chamber, and that is looking at those that were recently incarcerated, coming out, finding jobs, and getting situated. The Chamber has been a big partner in that. And alongside with that, I just want to say it was a pleasure always working with you with HOPE, Hispanic Organized for Political Education. We did many conferences and events together, but more importantly, I remember distinctly when you took over Pro-America Bank and you led that ship that was a little off course, but you took it right back and you made it happen. And because your reputation is what it is, we're so delighted to have you here, and your family, and especially your boys, because alongside of her duties working at the corporate level at many Fortune 500 industries, she also has a family, and that's first and foremost in her mind. So muchísimas gracias, bendiciones, and thank you, and your parents and your lovely husband. Thank you, Maria.
And what's their names?
Yeah, all the rest of the... Yeah, please. Come on in here. Come on in here. The water's fine. And then we're going to ask you to... One step forward.
No steps back.
Esperanza solamente, por favor.
Madam Chair and Supervisors, this is truly a humbling experience. I am deeply touched by the recognition. Serving as President and CEO of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility, not only to serve the business community, but to serve our region, our entire region that covers all your districts. I take that work with complete commitment to be able to continue to partner with each one of you on the many, many issues that we have tackled together. The Chamber has led in a lot of your small business procurement efforts, but also in the criminal justice reform work that you have all done. We've been partners there. And I have completely enjoyed the conversations we have had about what we're going to do in the bioscience space, in the creative economy. All of those initiatives are so important to the residents of this county. Please know that I will be there to work with you and to support you in your work, and I look forward to building on that partnership that we currently have. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm very pleased today to honor the winners of the 2019 Distinguished Young Women's State Competition Awards. And I'm pleased to recognize two young women, Audrey Sue and Ananya Narayanan from the Cerritos Artesia Distinguished Young Women. This organization provides high school students with the opportunity to learn life skills and earn college scholarships. This year, these two ladies trained and competed in the Distinguished Young Women's State Competition, and I'm pleased to share that the new California State Distinguished Young Women for 2019 is Audrey Sue. Audrey is a senior at Whitney High School in Cerritos. In her free time, she's a volunteer math tutor for Schools on Wheels, is the treasurer for the Future Business Leaders of America, and she enjoys Chinese dancing. Next year, Audrey will represent California in the national competition. But the Cerritos Artesia branch had not one, but two winners. Ananya Narayanan was selected as the second alternate. Anaya also lives in Cerritos and attends Whitney High School. She's the president of the speech and debate team, volunteers for the Cerritos Library's summer reading program, and is a member of the National Honor Society. Ananya hopes to attend Georgetown or UC Berkeley next year and pursue a degree in law. Together, Audrey and Anaya earned $19,750 in college scholarships at the state competition and made us very proud. You are both wonderful examples of young women that certainly will one day be our leaders. I encourage you to follow your dreams, use your voice to fight in what you believe. Let's have a big round of applause for these two young women who won this award. Congratulations. I would now like to welcome Rhonda Bird, the Executive Director of the Cerritos Artesia branch, to say a few words.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you. It's a joy and a privilege to work with the cream of the crop here. And we want you to watch our girls go all the way because they will lead us someday. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do either one of you want to say a few words? I know you're not prepared, but... Okay,
they're always prepared.
I know, right?
So we'd like to thank Supervisor Janice Hahn and the Board of Supervisors for honoring us with this award. This competition was really important for us, and we were really honored to be able to compete to represent our state.
And we'd also like to thank Rhonda and Darshana for organizing the program at our local, our city, which is Cerritos Artesia. They truly provided so many opportunities for us and have allowed us to be able to be recognized here today. So thank you so much to Rhonda and Darshana.
Thank you and congratulations.
Just a blur. We're very proud of you. I know it's a long way away, but when you're thinking about us, don't think just say it.
Pepperdine Law School is a good school.
They're all good. I'm just saying. Supervisor Barger, do you have? Oh, super. That's what we do. It doesn't seem to be on. Don't know why, but how about something tall for you?
Madam Chair, I'm going to let her hold Tess because Tess is a little nervous with all the people in the audience. But this is Tess, who is a 10-month-old female short hair kitty that's up for adoption at the Downey Shelter. You can adopt by calling 562-728-4610. And Tess is the sweetest, sweetest cat and loves to be cuddled and is looking for a forever home. So I would encourage you to go online or go in person to one of our shelters to adopt. You'll never regret it. This is Tess. Yeah, we'll do this. Bye, Tess. A little excited, yeah. And then this is Miracle. Come here, Miracle.
Miracle?
Miracle is a miracle. Miracle is a 6-month-old miniature poodle who's a little mellow today. Also available for adoption, 562-728-4610 at our Downey shelter. And please, 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 always look to adopt from one of our shelters. You will never regret it. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Also want to remind people there are many, many, many newborn kittens in our shelters, and we need people to care for them for the first 12 weeks, just sort of foster kitten parents, because we can't put them out for adoption until they're 12 weeks old. So contact your local shelter if you're interested in that program as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice? Supervisor Solis. Up there she is. Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin the presentation, I believe we have a short video that the department has prepared. This is regional planning, and it's their Spanish planning committee. So let's watch the video.
The Spanish planning program really has gone deep into the community. Los Angeles is so diverse. We've got people who speak multitudes of languages, but 25% of our population actually speaks Spanish as their primary language.
Spanish Planning Committee is a coordinated group of planners in the Department of Regional Planning, and we created this group to improve the efforts in communicating and outreaching to the Spanish-speaking communities.
Planners are hands-on. They're very engaged with the actual translation work, and not only are they bilingual, but they're technically competent and also culturally competent.
We were getting a lot of constituents that were not understanding the process, and even if they knew some English, it was very difficult for them to understand.
We try to create a consistent translation or interpretation of certain terms to make it easy for all communities to understand it.
The planning process is technical enough in English, let alone in Spanish, so when you try to translate it into Spanish, it doesn't translate well literally.
We try to educate them, inform them of what's going on and what they should be aware of and who they should speak to, not just relating to regional planning, but overall agencies in the county.
And we had to create some type of mechanism to see if we can provide consistency in our process. So the Spanish Planning Glossary is a document that we created and basically has the terminology in English as well as the most commonly used translation in Spanish with some alternative translations as well.
This helps empower planners to have the right vocabulary to then speak to the public about land use planning.
They have agreement on what the translation should be so that everybody is using the same common language.
It's a tool that we use on a day-to-day basis.
What's most important is making sure that we're not inadvertently using the wrong language. Some terms might actually have negative impacts when they're directly translated.
A bad translation could lead to the constituent to be frustrated or feel alienated from the planning process. We have members that are from different countries, so some of the translation could be interpreted a certain way from one country to another.
If you can't communicate with your residents, you can't help them get services.
I think this process is not only benefiting the public, I think it benefits the public greatly, but at the same time, it also benefits the planning field.
The Spanish glossary can be used and duplicated by any municipality.
I think what it's doing is highlighting the importance of having a common vocabulary. The response that we've been getting from the community has been very rewarding because they understand that we're actually trying very hard to work with them.
We keep building on this document, so hopefully one day we can have it published by the American Planning Association.
We're really excited about being able to demonstrate the value of it, making it available, and sharing the wealth of knowledge that we've been able to grow in-house.
Wow. You know, each year, the American Planning Association receives nominations from throughout the county to consider for their annual American Planning Association's National Planning Awards. Our Regional Planning Spanish Planning Committee was nominated for the Achievement Award for Best Practice. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I'm thrilled to say that the department received the top award in their category, the Gold Level Award. Wow. Our Spanish Planning Committee beat out Columbus, I think it's Ohio, right? and Franklin County in Ohio, and San Francisco's accessory dwelling unit and unit legalization program. How impressive is that? With an estimated 4.7 million Latino residents in the county, this 16-person Spanish Planning Committee works tirelessly to review and translate documents and provide live interpretation services during public hearings and community meetings. And I've seen it firsthand at many of our neighborhood meetings that we've had throughout the 1st District. And I know they've done that throughout the county. I want to say that they also manage and maintain the Spanish Planning Glossary, which you heard a little bit about. This helps to bridge the gap between the department and our community when more technical planning terms need to be used and they have to be explained correctly. The committee has embraced our Latino community and are doing an incredible job of breaking down a major barrier that can often prevent Spanish-speaking constituents from understanding and being involved in the planning process. And we know how vitally important this is for many of our residents. So congratulations, you set a great example for other departments to follow. And I am so delighted to turn the mic over to our new director, kind of new, but she's already shaking up the department and the county in a good way. And that's Director Amy Bodick. So we ask her to say a few words here. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis and members of the Board of Supervisors. It is my honor and pleasure to be up here letting you and the county know about our national award. This is the first national award that the department has won, and I find it wholly appropriate that it involves our Spanish language committee because so much of our county is focused on Spanish as their primary language. And as the video said, if we're not able to communicate in a common language with a vast percentage of our community, that makes our job very difficult. And it's incumbent upon us to be able to do that as professionals. I want to recognize the leadership of John Sanabria and Alex Garcia, who co-founded this committee several years ago. And these are the members of the current committee, and I just want to thank them for their dedication and hard work. They did this on a voluntary basis, and that in itself is a testament to their commitment to not only the profession of planning, but to the citizens of the county. So I accept this acknowledgement on their behalf and on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Madam Executive Officer, please play the Code of Conduct.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The meeting of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors is about to commence. A code of conduct will now be read, and we request that you comply with it to ensure the efficient administration of the meeting. Members of the public, it is your right to participate in today's board hearing, and the board encourages such participation. However, the right of the public to address the board must be balanced with the need to ensure that public comment does not interfere with the orderly course of the board's business. All are reminded to abide by the following rules. Speakers must cease speaking immediately when their time has ended. Public comment on agenda items must relate to the subject matter of that item. General public comment is limited to subjects within the jurisdiction of the board. Public comment does not include the right to engage in a dialogue with board members or staff. Please remain respectful of the forum and refrain from uttering, writing, or displaying profane, personal, threatening, derogatory, demeaning, or other abusive statements toward the board, any member thereof, staff, or any other person. Members of the audience should be respectful of the views expressed by speakers, staff, and board members, and may not clap, cheer, whistle, or otherwise disrupt the orderly conduct of the meeting. Any person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being removed from the board meeting. And finally, if you witness conduct or behavior by other members of the public that disrupts your ability to remain engaged or participate in this meeting, please notify the Sergeant at Arms or other county staff. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you very much. As many of you may know, the fourth Tuesday of every month is public hearing day for the Board of Supervisors, where we take up items where we are acting as the local authority in the unincorporated areas. So we will begin with item 2. But first, we would like to swear in all of those who are here to testify for the public hearing items. That would be items 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if you are here to testify on any of those 8 items, please rise and raise your right hand and be sworn in to testify. Thank you. Go ahead.
In the testimony you may give before this board, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you. All right, let us begin with item 2.
On item 2 is a hearing on the proposed vacation of the portion of Bandera Avenue south of 118th Street in the unincorporated community of Willowbrook. There is a departmental statement and no correspondence was received, and there are 4 members of the public who have requested to address the board on this item.
Thank you. I believe there is a departmental statement. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the members of the board. My name is Sherry Afshari, and I'm the Deputy Director with the Department of Public Works overseeing the Environmental Services Core Service Area. The purpose of these actions before you today is to seek board approval to vacate road and sewer easements and quitclaim a storm drain easement in the unincorporated community of Willowbrook. The vacation and quitclaim would allow for the construction of a 6-story mixed-use building by the Community Development Commission, which includes housing for low-income and homeless households. I reviewed the investigation that was conducted by members of my staff in connection with the proposed vacation and quitclaim. I have concluded that the road, sewer, and storm drain easements are unnecessary for present or prospective public use. Easement and rights-of-way for utility purposes will be reserved within the involved area in favor of Pacific Bell Telephone Company doing business as AT&T California, Southern California Gas Company, and Southern California Edison Company. I have concluded that the public convenience and necessity require the reservation of these easements. A notice of the time and place of the public hearing regarding this road vacation has been posted along the proposed vacation area and published for 2 successive weeks in a newspaper of general circulation. We are aware of no formal protest to the proposed road vacation.
Thank you, Deputy Director. I believe members of the public have signed up to speak on this item. Please call them forward.
Would the following individuals please come forward and staff will assist you? Anna Tapia and Eric Previn. Please come forward and staff will assist you.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. My name is Anna Tapia, and I'm here on behalf of Link Housing. Link Housing will be developing 100 units of affordable housing on this site, and the vacation of Bandera Avenue will allow us to build units on this portion of Bandera Street that will be vacated. Since it's not currently in use, we believe that it'll be a better use to put affordable housing on here, and we'd like to thank you for your consideration for this approval.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn from the 3rd District, and I live in Studio City. I am a writer and a bit of a watchdog, and I've been following the way the city and the county make available pieces of city or county property for the purposes of the public interest and necessity. I think many of us agree that affordable housing is a good use of that land, and so I can be supportive of that kind of a thing, but I am a little bit worried that in some of these jurisdictions, the process to get the land granted for use requires some kind of dealings at City Hall that involve the council district offices they call them vacations of property, as Janice Hahn will recall. And what they do is they unfortunately have a backlog of vacations of property, and then they wait until the fundraising window opens for the next election, and then all of these vacations of property are ready to move forward, and something has to grease it along. And so, as an example, Jose Huizar is CD14, but now he's not running for office. He's termed out, but Rochelle Huizar is running. So that's why you see a dozen CD14 vacations of property. And what worries the public is that that's not appropriate. That's kind of, I'm not even sure if it's legal, but it is certainly unsavory. And now in this case, certainly with the great Mr. Ridley Thomas in place, we have nothing to worry about in the ethics department. But we do have some concerns about some of the other items on the agenda. Namely, I believe it's item, it's the one that has to do with the Bruckner and the Watt companies. Now, we could talk about that later, but I just wanted the Board of Supervisors to be aware of this activity because it does not reflect well when we are all trying desperately to, stem this tide of homelessness to be, extracting various kinds of favors out of this process. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Record of violations and the health and safety concerns at the property, Regional Planning recommends that the board deny the appeal. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Please call the appellant forward.
Would Christina Kropp please come forward and staff will assist you?
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Christina Kropp of Luna and Glushan, here on behalf of applicant Mitchell Investors. What you are hearing from staff is a lot of innuendo, allegations, and undocumented statements. They claim there is non-auto body repair uses at the project site, that the applicant is painting illegally, that they are storing cars illegally, but none of that has been proven. What you see here today is that these items have not been prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. With all due respect to staff, it's an auto repair operation, so there are storage of cars that are unable to be moved. There's no other way to do it. Staff claims that this is illegal storage. We claim it's incidental storage. Who's right? We don't know. Without an actual determination in court, I don't know how we resolve that. And I make this distinction because it's an important one. As a matter of law, the applicant is only requesting to continue legally established and permitted uses necessary solely as a result of the county's downzoning in 2004. We are not asking to continue or to partake in any uses that were not legally established. To the extent that enforcement or investigations believes that there are uses which were not legally established, that's their right to go out, to issue orders, and then to prosecute those orders to the fullest extent of the law. But today, we're only asking to continue what was legally established. I have to point out, because staff pointed out that we have filed for the wrong application, that is 200% incorrect. In 2011, when we filed this application, staff refused to take it in. They said this is the incorrect application. You cannot file an NCR application. We filed a suit in court and we won. The Superior Court determined that the county must process an NCR application for this site as there was legally established uses at the site prior to the county's downzoning. You also hear from staff a lot about what's been pending and that this application has been pending for a long time and I haven't been responsive. That's incorrect. It has been pending for a long time, but because it's been moving from planner to planner to planner, and I've been here the entire time, every time a new planner comes on, they say, Christina, we need these items, there's corrections. I've been submitting them. The only deadline that came about was in December of last year. I mean, it's in the record. That letter said, please let us know if you want to continue the NCR application or if you would like to move to a CUP application. Please let us know by the end of December. I let them know, it's in the record, we are continuing with the NCR application as the court determined we have every right to do. Since then, they've issued corrections and they've brought them all back to this December deadline. I cannot respond to corrections with a past deadline. You can't give me corrections to a site plan in February and say my responses were due in December 2017. I don't have the ability to do that. So I'll just go back to my narrow point on this appeal. All we're asking to do is continue what has been legally established. That is our right under the code in this NCR application. We ask you to grant our appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Please call the others who have signed up to speak on this.
Will the following individuals please come forward and staff will assist you? Mary Jacobs, Eric Previn, Alex Mendez, Daryl Cruz. Please come forward and staff will assist you.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Mary Jacobs. I used to own an auto body shop, and something so similar happened to this lady, except I wasn't the owner of the shop, but they were bamboozled into losing their ability to stay non-compliant, and now they're doing their business in Alhambra, and I lost the ability to rent to them, C&R Auto Shop. And also, I lost the ability to use the property as a residence because that wasn't allowed either. So when I took the office and put people in it, that was a non-conforming thing too. So apparently the people here think the only thing that I should do is let my property create an eyesore. Because if I put people in it, I'm not allowed to get rent. It's considered against the law. If I try to have it at the auto shop, I have to spend $10,000, and they'll still say no because they don't want an auto shop. This whole group of county people, no offense, but you say I have gangsters in my property, you are the gang. You are the gang that ganged up on me, my husband, our families, the people that lived at our house. We have no property. You have received it. You have taken a receiver and put the receiver in charge of my house. I can't even get on my own front yard without getting arrested. And this is all run by people who don't believe in private property rights. This is against the Constitution of the United States of America. And I feel that you seize my property. I talked to the newspaper, what's his name? Hamel on the Law, or whatever his name is, KFI. He said this is inappropriate. This is illegal seizure of property. It's against the Fourth Amendment. And what you're doing to this woman is the same thing. You're using codes instead of paying attention to the rights of property owners. And I really think you should get your act together and stop being communist, because that's what you're acting like. And I want to use every single penny, every time I have, to tell people that communism run this property. And I'm sorry, this county.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mercy. Hi. I am Daryl Cruz, and I just say use up all your administrative process and then take it to court if that's what you have to do, because that's what you have to do. In my case, in '82, I was renting a piece of property for a construction yard, and the county kicked me out, and then in came a construction yard, and the county is still there. But they were a utility. they're authorized to do that kind of stuff. So we moved to a property down the street, and our property wasn't legal, illegally divided in the 40s. And one of the properties down the road had a chop shop, and you wanted to get rid of that, so they threatened to send me to jail if I didn't abate that property and not have that operation that had been there for years. And we abated that use and moved to a location in San Francisco for that use. And it took about 11 months before I got my notice that I had to move from there. So they had forgot about the second place, so we went back to the second place and did that operation. It was a construction yard, and they tried and kick us out of there, and then all of a sudden, 4 years ago, somebody knew somebody, and lo and behold, the zoning we'd been trying to get on that property for years, we got a notice in the mail saying the county rezoned it, not exactly what we wanted. We were an A1, we wanted a C3. Tried it for years to get a C3, and then all of a sudden the county just decides that everything in the Antelope Valley that was A1 could be M1. So we were M1, and it all ends up, well, we can do what we've been doing for years. Although until now, it's been illegal.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Alex Bendis. I live across the street from the property. And I approve, 70% I support what David says about that. And I don't know what these two people are, because I don't think it's related with that. So that's all I have to say. They're still doing the same thing they did before. They're still getting cars wrecked on the tow trucks, delivered over there, and I don't see no mechanics over there. And I can hear the noise when they're banging and grinding the cars to do the body work. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please call the last speaker.
Would Victor Trujillo please come forward and staff will assist you?
Welcome.
Welcome. Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Victor Trujillo. I understand what this is going about. I have a shop the same way. I've done for 6, 7, 8 years, fighting for my shop, trying to get the county to help me paying interest. So I understand when people do file complaints or try to get deals with the city, this is an inside thing. Somebody that works for the city, it took me a long time to understand, but these people, when you can't get somebody who speaks English to a person that pays taxes, and the federal government's not the FBI is going after these people, but the county is bringing some malicious paperwork inside and telling these people they're wrong. That's wrong. I see another reason behind it. I see other businesses that there's homeless casinos in Lancaster all over the San Fernando Valley, same way. They are not licensed, and they're running casinos for the homeless people. And you know what? There was a black man shot in Lancaster, and you know what? They opened this business that doesn't have no license, and it's called Tap Tap. So I'm seeing, if these people do their job, why are these casinos all over LA County, and they're taking the homeless money, and it's just like a commodity for organized crime. And we're seeing the county right here trying to throw somebody out. I have the same thing. I'm in the business myself. I talked to Barger about it. I've been ignored. I found out the district attorney's cousin is connected to the guy that went to kill me in the county jail. But I knew that already. I didn't never share this because I get 1 minute. I've been doing this for 4 years. I get 1 minute. But you know what? I have more information. But that is a very, very, very dangerous world. If we got 5 members that have been put here and they're not doing their job and they're listening to a county worker saying that these guys don't do their paperwork for their body shops, or I have a body shop in Lancaster. I can't even get paperwork done because the Barger's office helped me 4 or 5 times and they told me, sue us. Can't do nothing about it. You know what? There's a crime going on. We need, as taxpayers, to look at these people or fire them. Thank you.
Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And Madam Director, I don't know if there was any additional remarks you choose to make to clarify for the board's edification some of the remarks that may have been made by the speakers, the appellants, etc.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Madam Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors, we stand by our position that this is an inappropriate and unpermitted activity that is occurring, particularly adjacent to residential uses. There were a number of speakers that were frankly brave enough to come to the Regional Planning Commission meeting and speak out against the business. And that took a lot of bravery for them, so we do thank the member of the public who came and spoke out today. But we do stand by our position that this is an illegally permitted activity and is not an appropriate use, and we would be pleased to work with them on the appropriate activities for the use and pursuing the appropriate permit. But that has been difficult to accomplish, and so this is our only avenue at this point. Thank you.
Well, thank you. As has been indicated, Madam Chair and colleagues, this item pertains to a non-conforming review submitted by Mitchell Investors, LLC, which, like the prior item, is located in the community of Florence Firestone and an area heavily impacted by industrial uses. This site has been investigated by the Industrial Use Task Force for over a year. Protestations regarding fake news notwithstanding, it was on May 23 that the Regional Planning Commission denied the non-conforming application based on evidence that the applicant has continued to operate unpermitted businesses on the property that go beyond the scope of what can be approved through an NCR. In their review, planning staff and the Industrial Use Task Force found evidence of several land uses on the site that were never legally established, as well as new construction activities which made the NCR application invalid. And so the Commission's decision was also based on the project's extensive history of zoning violations, including a history with the county's district attorney. Community members testified, as is indicated on May 2-3, before the Commission in favor of the Commission denying this use on the site. They corroborated the staff's reports of the presence of zoning violations and health hazards, including oil runoff and strong visible fumes coming from the property toward their adjacent homes. This history shows that all efforts to conform to the zoning code have been insincere and or inadequate. I therefore move that the Board of Supervisors close the public hearing, affirm that the project number as indicated is statutorily exempt from CEQA pursuant to state and LA County CEQA guidelines, indicate that the Board's intent to deny the appeal for the non-conforming review, and uphold the findings of the Regional Planning Commission and direct County Council to prepare the final findings for denial. Madam Chair.
All right, the motion is before you. Is there any objection to a unanimous approval of this motion? Seeing none, that will be the action.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let us move to item 10.
Item 10 is a hearing on appeal of a project number R2013-01325 to authorize the continued operation of an existing junk and salvage yard and the addition of a new automobile dismantling yard located at 9625 South Alameda Street in the Florence Firestone Community Standard District within the Stark Palm Zone District. Applied for by the applicant Tony Auto Parts. There is a departmental statement and correspondence was received.
All right, we'll hear the departmental statement and then we'll call the appellant forward. The appellant, I believe 2 people will speak for the appellant, and I wanted to remind you it's a total of 4 minutes, so figure out how you're going to divide it up. Let us go to the department's report.
Thank you, Honorable Board. Again, my name is Sean Temple. I'm with the Department of Regional Planning. Before I proceed, I do want to make a point that This project is on the same block, the 9600 block of South Alameda that I presented 2 items ago, the same property ownership, the Eleanor Friend Trust. So it will be very similar into the issues concerned, because the problems are systemic to the block as a whole and how it's run. This project is for a request for a conditional use permit for an auto dismantling yard. The project site is at 9625 South Alameda Street, Florence Firestone. In May 2018, the Regional Planning Commission denied the project based on the following. 1, the applicant submitted a CUP application 5 years ago, and it has been operating unpermitted since at least 2013. 2, at least 5 other unpermitted heavy industrial uses have been operating on the project site. 3, the project site is part of the 10-parcel property under the ownership of the Eleanor Friend Trust. Planning staff has identified at least 11 businesses on the property. None of the businesses are permitted or have shown compliance with the zoning code. 4, the applicant made little effort to obtain the CUP. The application was submitted 5 years ago with multiple and lengthy periods of inactivity. The applicant has not yet provided a viable site plan or environmental paperwork. 5, the project site has a documented history of zoning violations. The applicant was given multiple opportunities over the last decade to abate these violations, but has failed to do so. Since the Commission's decision, the property owner has not contacted staff, and insufficient application materials have been submitted. Staff has conducted multiple site inspections since the Commission's denial. As of last week, there are still unpermitted businesses operating, and zoning violations have still not been abated. In closing, based on the above reasons, Regional Planning recommends that the Board deny the appeal. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. I believe we're calling the appellants up next.
Yes, with Luis Aguilar and Mahid Maramia, please come forward and staff will assist you.
Thank you. Next speaker, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Luis Aguilar. I'm the agent working with the applicant, Tony's Auto. We've been hired since 2013 when they applied for CUP. As you guys are aware, this project is on the 9600 block, like the regional planning indicated. I just want to get straight to the point. There are a number of issues that are outstanding on these properties. We're completely aware, and we just feel like we're entrapped due to the fact that the negligence on the property owner. So what we want to make the county aware is that the county has been making it very difficult for businesses for over a decade to stay in business. Number one, I don't understand why planners, and in this project, there's been 3 different planners that have been working on this project, from Sean Temple to Shauna to Greg, now back to Sean. So there's been over 100 emails that have been shared back and forth with progress, site plans that have been submitted. Every time they come out, there's always a discrepancy between, and lack of communication between code enforcement and the planning department. One individual will say something, the other individual will say something. We just don't understand why it's so difficult to get these issues resolved across to the planning department when the city is very straightforward. I mean, we've applied other businesses with the city. We submitted site plans, and we the same uses approved in a 3-month period. Now, given the fact that this applicant applied in 2013, the previous applications, Alameda Import, had originally applied in 2007. Why did it take the county 2 decades to find out that there was all these negligence going on with the property, and only took the applicant's money 5 years down the road, denied them? We just think that it's unfair, unethical, and unpractices that the county is conducting with a lot of these businesses. Now, the question sits to you guys. What happens next? You guys deny it, uphold the hearing decision on May 16. You guys expect these businesses to close and move out. These auto businesses, besides all the environmental impacts that they do have, it's a valuable resource for the community. Not everybody in here has the opportunity to buy a new vehicle. Therefore, these OEM parts, manufactured parts, are needed to serve the community. Unless anybody here can tell me who has a 2008 Maserati. I don't know. So therefore, we are asking the planning department and also the Board of Supervisors to allow us time to continue to work with them to resolve these issues. It's in our best interest that we continue to keep our doors open to serve the community and members of the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisor. My name is Majid Mahramnia. Before I buy Tony's auto part, I called LA County. I asked them, I'm buying the location 9625 South Alameda. It's an M2 zoning. Do I able to get the CUP and apply for dismantling license? They said yes. I purchased the business $250,000. I spent almost $100,000 to clean up with the racks for the parts. And I pay $8,941 fee. After I was waiting, after 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, year, back and forward email, yes, you're going to be approved, no problem. That inspector changed, and they said, oh, you have to pay $4,245 for review your case.
Thank you.
No problem. I write the check, $4,245.
Thank you. The 4 minutes has expired, so that's what allotted for both of you together. But thank you. If there's anything, I think they've seen it in writing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please call the rest of the people who've signed up to speak.
Would David, Aya, and Mary Jacobs please come forward and staff will assist you?
Thank you. Welcome.
Should I go? Okay. Okay, it looks like you've got a war going on between business and the county, regional planning people, and apparently you don't think jobs are required to keep an economy going. You want everybody to be on welfare, you want everybody to be begging for money from this county so that you can all engineer our lives. I used to be able to make money when C&R Auto Electric Shop was in business, and you decided to go to war with me, and I lost. Now I lost my old house, and I'm losing the rent from the one house left. And I'm tired of losing wars against you. And that's what's happening. LA County is known to have very poor employment and a lot of homeless people. Do the figuring out in your head, not the math, just do the figuring out. If you don't have jobs, you're going to have homeless people. If you take automotive shops, which create good jobs for people that are not very well educated, but have, good common sense with their hands, you're going to have unemployed people that have no chance to make a living, and you're going to have more people on welfare, more people asking for food stamps, nobody having a place to live, and then you can hire all these white people with their degrees and black and whatever with their degrees to psychoanalyze them. Gee, why are you so depressed? Because the county took away my property. The county took away my business. The county took away my ability to be self-sufficient. I'm a 68-year-old woman. I can't go starting a whole new goddamn house. My husband's 85, and we're living in a homeless shelter because the county effed with us. And I don't think you should F with these other people that are on the waiting list to be effed by you. And you know what F means, okay? I started begging you people, don't take away C&R. It's going to lead to poverty and homelessness. Well, here I am. You got your way. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to talk every chance I get till I hear somebody listens to me, till somebody hears, stop being such communistic idiots.
Thank you. That's all the speakers who have signed up. Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Madam Chair and colleagues, The subject of this item, Tony's Auto Parts, is located on the same property as the application deliberated during item number 8. It was on May the 16th of this year that the Los Angeles County Regional Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the subject on the project and denied the application for a conditional use permit. Tony's Auto Parts had filed an application in 2012 to authorize the continued operation of an unpermitted junk and salvage yard and authorize the addition of an existing unpermitted automobile dismantling yard. Similar to the prior matter, Madam Chair and colleagues, this applicant's proposed site plan encroaches on other existing businesses on the property. So it's a mistake to suggest that this is anti-business. This is simply an attempt to make sure that businesses conform, that they are in compliance. There's a code by which they are obliged to abide. And while the business owner has made some efforts to resolve outstanding zoning violations at the site due to the property owner's failure to evict adjacent unpermitted businesses, a site plan and CUP application cannot be deemed to meet the required development standards or burden of proof. Moreover, there is a documented history of unresolved zoning violations, including, but not limited to, inadequate parking, unpermitted signage, blocked circulation paths, and the presence of dismantled vehicles, graffiti, trash, and debris. I therefore move that the Board of Supervisors close the public hearing, affirm the project that is statutorily exempt from CEQA and pursuant to state and LA County CEQA guidelines, indicate the board's intent to deny the appeal for conditional use permit and uphold the findings of the Regional Planning Commission. And finally, direct County Council to prepare the final findings for denial in the interest of public safety, public health, and the well-being of the people of the Florence Firestone community. Madam Chair.
Thank you. So the motion is before you. Is there any objection to a unanimous vote in favor of the motion? Seeing none, that will be the order. The final public hearing item today is item 11. There is an applicant who will be given 4 minutes. There are appellants who will be given a total of 4 minutes. So a total of 4 minutes for the applicants, total of 4 minutes for appellants. Let us begin with the departmental statement.
Madam Chair, can I read in the statement?
Yes, please.
Item 11 is a hearing on appeals on project number R2015-00408 to authorize development of Phase 1 of the North Lake specific plan located east of Interstate 5, west of Castaic Lake, and north of the unincorporated community of Castaic in the Castaic Canyon Zone District, applied for by the applicant John Arvin. There is a departmental statement and correspondence was received.
All right, Department.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair and honorable members of the board. My name is Jody Sackett, Senior Planner, Department of Regional Planning. The North Lake Specific Plan was originally approved by the county and your board in 1992. The 1992 approval authorized a total of 3,623 new single-family and townhome residences, 13 acres of commercial uses, 50 acres of industrial uses, 2 school sites, a fire station site, a golf course, and other private recreation and open space areas on a total of 1,330 acres in the Castaic area of the Santa Clarita Valley. In the specific plan, the project site was divided into 2 phases for future development. The project was adopted with an environmental impact report, a development agreement, and a conditional use permit. In 2015, the project applicant submitted revisions to the project as well as proposed to implement Phase 1 of the specific plan with a tract map subdivision of land. The revised project included a total of 3,150 units, of which 1,974 were proposed as part of Phase 1, along with 345 age-restricted units for senior citizens, a 20-acre public park proposed instead of a private golf course, as well as additional recreation spaces, public and private trails, and reductions in commercial and industrial land to 9 acres and 14 acres respectively. A supplemental environmental impact report analyzed additional impacts of the project. The Los Angeles County Regional Planning Commission held a public hearing for the project on February 21st and April 18th, 2018. During the February 21st hearing, the Commission heard presentations and testimony and directed the applicant to work with staff and make further revisions to the project, which included adding an affordable housing component, coordinating for off-site public transit service, addressing additional noise impacts on the nearby school, and improving wildlife crossings. At their April 18th continued public hearing, the applicant returned with the revisions requested by the Planning Commission, which included a 10% affordable housing set-aside, a privately funded shuttle service to off-site employment and other destinations, enhanced wildlife crossings, and additional noise mitigation for the existing nearby school. The applicant also made other changes such as adding mixed-use and live-work units, removing the industrial designated land, funding solar energy for the residences, and funding 135 electric vehicle charging stations within the site and local community. The Regional Planning Commission approved the project with these changes on April 18, 2018. After the approval, the project was appealed by the Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance on April 23rd, the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy on April 17th, and the Center for Biological Diversity on April 30th, 2018. Project appellants cited grounds for appeal chiefly related to environmental concerns. Staff has reviewed the appellant statements submitted and has concluded that the project supplemental environmental impact report, along with its attachments and revisions to mitigation measures previously incorporated into the environmental document prior to the Regional Planning Commission approval, sufficiently address the concerns raised by the appellants. Therefore, staff recommends that your board uphold the April 18th approval decision of the Regional Planning Commission and deny the appeal requests. And this concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Executive Officer, please call the applicants first.
Would John Arvin and Damon Mamalakis please come forward, and staff will assist you.
Thank you, gentlemen. You have a combined total of 4 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Honorable members of the board, my name is John Arvin. I work for Northlake Associates, owner of the Northlake Project. As you know, Northlake has been in the county's general plan for many years. We took ownership of the project in 2013 and immediately started working to make the project smarter, greener, more sustainable, less dense, and less impactful to the environment. To that end, we have reduced the unit count and increased permanent open space. We have added solar energy and EV charging stations. We have added parks and trails and reclaimed water. We have added 315 affordable housing units and connections to public transportation. I'm happy to report that after a rigorous 4-year review process by County Planning and County Public Works, we received approval from the Regional Planning Commission this past April. I'm very proud of the Northlake Project and the work that we have done working cooperatively with the county and the local Castaic community. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Damon Mamalakis.
Thank you. Welcome.
Honorable Supervisors, Damon Mamalakis of Armbruster, Goldsmith, and Delvec. As demonstrated in the staff report and other items in your board package, none of the 3 appeals of RPC's approval of the project have merit, including the last-minute submissions that you received and we responded to for the record. Nonetheless, I'd like to briefly address a few of the main issues raised by the appellants. Appellants claim the project will impact important habitats and special status wildlife. The record contains detailed expert studies based on years of on-site surveys that show that these impacts will be less than significant with mitigation. This is further confirmed by the information contained in the second errata, the mitigation land feasibility study, and the independent expert biological resources review report that we submitted last week. They assert that the site is an important wildlife corridor. The project site is not a wildlife corridor because of its location adjacent to the I-5 freeway and Castaic Lake, both of which present barriers to wildlife movement. Further, the independent expert biologist installed cameras on the site in the various locations of the alleged corridors and took recordings for several months, and they confirm that there is no important wildlife corridor on the site. They allege human activity impacts on wildlife. The EIR analyzed these impacts and concluded that with mitigation, they would be less than significant. They claim there's insufficient land for mitigation of biological impacts. However, there is more than enough land available, as demonstrated in the mitigation land feasibility study that we included in your board packet. They allege the project will result in significant downstream impacts, yet detailed expert hydrological and biological studies in the SEIR demonstrate that these impacts would not be significant. They further allege that project residents would suffer health effects from freeway emissions. We commissioned an expert health risk assessment that shows that these risks would not be significant. Finally, they argue the project would not provide any public benefits. Yet the project will provide significant public benefits, including providing 2,835 market rate and 315 deed-restricted affordable housing units, 167 acres of publicly accessible land, $60 million for public roadway improvements, 600 acres of permanent open space, a publicly accessible sports park, countless numbers of construction and permanent jobs, and the construction of a new fire station. We respectfully request you follow staff's recommendation, reject all three appeals, and uphold the approval of the project. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. Please call the appellants forward.
Would Ross Middlemiss, Paul Edelman, and Hannah Bentley please come forward and staff will assist you?
Have a seat. Appellants have a total of 4 minutes, however you wish to divide it among the three of you. So welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Board of Supervisors. My name is Hannah Bentley. I'm here on behalf of the Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance, as well as the Golden State Environmental and Social Justice Alliance. I really only had 3 comments. First of all, we submitted additional materials to you this morning. We recommend to you Dr. Sean Smallwood's response to the Glenn Lucas document, which was definitely not an independent peer review for the reasons outlined, specifically that it was prepared by a consultant for the developer. And third, we'd like to advise that we were told we would have 4 minutes each, so I'm just going to cut it off at that.
Good morning. My name is Ross Middlemiss, here on behalf of the Appellant Center for Biological Diversity. Again, I'll try to be brief given our time limitations. This North Lake project epitomizes the sprawl development that's led to widespread habitat destruction in Los Angeles County, as well as increased road congestion and risk of wildfire. The project review, environmental review, fails in a number of ways, particularly in its alternatives analysis as well as available mitigation land off-site, despite what the applicant claims. The project as proposed, despite all of its iterations, would destroy over 3 miles of Grasshopper Creek and its associated habitat. And despite these impacts, the applicant and the county planning have failed to adequately consider an alternative that would reduce the development footprint to avoid the creek. Additionally, in terms of mitigation, the environmental review has failed to identify feasible, real mitigation lands off-site The riparian and riparian-associated habitats are critical to a number of imperiled species, and this is a rare habitat. Up to 95% is already gone historically in California, and it's very difficult to reestablish and to recreate off-site. So a promise to mitigate in the future is not sufficient for this situation. Once a project is approved, it will go forward, that habitat will be destroyed, and these animals will be evicted or killed. So in summation, we understand at the center that there are pressing housing needs facing Los Angeles County, as well as California at large, but that is not a blank check to advocate our responsibility of environmental stewardship and sustainable land use planning. And we hope the board takes this opportunity to grant our appeal. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Paul Edelman with the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, one of 3 state agencies opposing this project. If you look at the first figure in front of you, the 11 by 17s, it shows how this project, a gateway to LA County, sends a 3-mile sprawl of development up that hillside. You need to do what's best for all aspects of the county, not just housing. And you can do that with Alternative 1, which is 50% alternative, and that can supply enough housing and enough habitat. And the county holds the key to get this use, to get the best land use possible for this project, because they need county land to do this project. They need 36 acres of county land to build this project. They say, well, we're going to go appraise it later and do whatever. It's corporate welfare. The value of that county land is tens of millions of dollars that's going to this project. It wasn't analyzed in the economic or in any other fashion. Please grant these appeals. This project should be a shining light of land use, not what it is, destroying a watershed and putting a 3,000-unit housing development flowing into the Castaic Lagoon. Please grant and do not certify this EIR. I object to the lack of time, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, we just do equal time, 4 minutes each. So we have heard from the applicant and the appellant. Please call forward others who have signed up to speak on this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would the following individuals please come forward when I call your name? Bert Abel, Troy Hooper, Rudy Ortega, Jessica Chambers, Sandia Ennis, Flo Lawrence, Rudy Ortega, Eric Previn, and Andre Hollins. Please come forward.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. My name is Troy Hooper. I am the chairman of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, which includes the community of Castaic. I come before you to speak in support of the new community of North Lake. The development is a welcomed addition to the greater Santa Clarita Valley, especially to Castaic. The specific plan of North Lake is part of the One Valley, One Vision, which is highly supported around the Santa Clarita Valley. As you know, the community of Castaic is in dire need of new residential development to help support its local businesses. This project will boost the local economy by increasing the number of patrons for the struggling local businesses, helping to ensure business sustainability. The project will also bring many more needed new homes, which will attract new families to our community. We urge for you to support and ask that you expedite the approval of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Bert Abel. I'm with NAI Capital Commercial Real Estate. And my responsibilities are to handle the leasing up of some properties that are devastated by the lack of growth in the community of Castaic. Castaic is undergoing a real downturn because the promise is not being lived up to on behalf of the locals, and that is to get more residents, which mean more people, so that we can get a supermarket back in a center that's now 90% vacant, a drugstore in that same center, and other ancillary uses, most of which have gone out of business as a result of not having the population available. We need this project. The community of Castaic wants this project. They're in universal support of it, and it's important that we get the approval and can start it.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Rudy Ortega Jr. I'm the tribal president for the Fernandino, Tatavia, and Banner Mission Indians. I'd like to begin by acknowledging Yavatam, which is the people who occupied this area, these lands that we're on today. The tribe supports North Lake's specific project plan. The tribe is not a federally recognized tribe and has jurisdiction of Los Angeles County. We are the only historical tribe of the Native American of Los Angeles that is currently under the review of the U.S. Department of Interior for federal acknowledgement to establish its federal status. As a California Native American tribe with historical and lineage ties to the area of our encompassing of North Lake Project, the tribe's involvement with the land extends as far back as time immemorial. We find that the North Lake Project has efficiently mitigated its potential impacts to tribal cultural resources by working closely with our offices to reduce and or eliminate ground disturbances in locations that hold cultural resources concerned. It is our role as a tribal consultant. TAVIAM finds that the North Lake Project has sustainably improved, promoting not only the first peoples of the land, but also our resources that the materials deposits left behind by our ancestors. Kopata. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Flo Lawrence. I'm a resident of Castaic. I'm a dad. I've lived there for 20 years. I raised my two sons there. They're 24 and 21. I love Castaic. I'm excited about the North Lake Project. I served on the town council. I was the president of the town council when we recorded our support for this project. And what you've heard today is true. Right now, we have a lot of businesses that are closed, and we have a housing need in Castaic. Obviously, the need for housing outpaces supply all over LA County, but we need new houses and new families in Castaic. Businesses are suffering, and our elementary schools and our middle schools are down in population because all the houses were built at the end of the 90s, and everyone moved in together, and all the kids have grown up, like mine, at 24 and 21 and moved out. And what happened is they were so busy building houses, they forgot to build fields and parks. We don't have Little League fields. We don't have soccer-dedicated fields. We don't have fields for youth football. And North Lake has agreed to help with some of this aspect of what's missing in our community. I like the idea of the trails as well as some of the environmental people pointed out. We're at the end of the world there, and there's beautiful wild country, and the idea that we can have hiking trails or biking trails for our residents is absolutely important. I encourage you to approve this project quickly and to begin development so that we can put families in those homes. They can come to our businesses, they can order sandwiches, they can purchase auto parts, they can drop off their dry cleaning, and most importantly, so they can put kids in the desks at our schools. Give us some more homes. Please take staff's recommendation and approve the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Andre Hollings, and I am a resident of the Santa Clarita Valley. I come before you to speak in support of the North Lake Project. The specific plan was approved in 1992 by the Castaic Area Town Council as well as the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. North Lake is compliant with the Santa Clarita Valley Area Plan, One Valley, One Vision, as well as the Los Angeles County General Plan, and respects the Castaic Community Standards District. The developers for North Lake have worked with the local community as well as the town council to improve the originally approved plan to include better parks, more trails, additional open space, and preserving ridge lines. In addition, the project now includes 10% affordable housing, which will go a long way toward helping our housing crisis in LA County. Castaic is looking forward to incorporating the North Lake community into as it will help our struggling local businesses and declining school enrollment. New residents will help our economy thrive by supporting local businesses as well as bringing an increase in student enrollment for our school district. We hope you will approve North Lake today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Chambers. I'm the current president of the Castaic Area Town Council, and we have been in support of the North Lake project since it's originally approved. With new members, we have also reapproved this project with its changes that it has happened. The developers of North Lake have worked closely with the local communities as well as the town council to make improvements to our plans, just like the parks and the roadways. I would like to take a few minutes to reiterate some of the key project enhancements that are important to our community. The 167 acres of park and open space, the reclaimed water usage that will reduce, usage system which will be used, and the total water consumption has been reduced by nearly 35% in the plan before you today. North Lake will also contribute $60 million towards Castaic area traffic improvements, which I don't know if you're familiar with the area. It is basically the neck right before it goes to the Grapevine, and we end up having major congestion problems because we are the heart of the state. The new fire station will be on site, and the updated North Lake plan has been redesigned to incorporate low-impact development standards. Our local businesses are struggling. We have many storefronts that have been emptied because they were built there with the knowledge that this project was going to be put in place. And because it hasn't happened since 1992, many stores have lost and are not there anymore. So Castaic is looking forward to incorporating the North Lake community to add new rooftops to help Castaic grow and attract new families. New residents will help our community thrive and help our schools. On behalf of the residents of Castaic, we hope you take the initiative to support North Lake, and we look forward to witnessing the approval and initiation of this project.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandia Ennis, and I am a director on the Castaic Area Town Council. I'm also here to express my personal support for the North Lake projects, as well as the support of the Castaic Area Town Council. I've been a resident of Castaic for 18 years, and I appreciate the opportunity that I've had to work with the developer on the plans for North Lake over the last 6 years. The North Lake team has been working one-on-one with the community to ensure broad-based support. One of the components of the project that I like the most is the Class 1 bike path, which will connect the schools to the homes so they're able to ride to school back and forth safely. In addition, the transit system that the HOA will maintain will help transport residents from their homes to job sites to Santa Clarita, like the Valencia Commerce Center, or for shopping destinations. I ask that you please approve North Lake as its project our community has long desired. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn from the 3rd District. I live in Studio City, and I've noticed this project over the years, and I think it is supportable. It's a bunch of housing in Castaic. Castaic, as some in the county may know, is where the Pitches facility is, which is a jail. And in the olden days, not that long ago, there was a plan to add a women's facility in that area, which is too far away as well. But subsequently, that has been shifted to the Antelope Valley, to a place called Miraloma, where we have a escalating toxicity problem, which is something that I think Bruckner and the folks from regional planning, Bruckner is no longer with regional planning. He's now with the Watt companies as a lobbyist for Mayor Brown on item 16 today. Even though we brought to your attention, Supervisor Kuehl, and the County Council, some issues about that, you have simply ignored it. And so with this matter, I want to give my support, which is that people need places to live, and the people from Castaic have clearly spoken up, made it very clear that they are in need of this kind of capacity. And I thought it was especially nice of the developer to provide Mr. Ridley Thomas, who's selfieing over there, parks, because this is such an important detail. We really do need to have places for the young people to thrive and do activities and all sorts of things like that. Now, outdoors in Miraloma, jumping back to Antelope Valley, we're not going to have so much of that activity. Now, your folks over at SOMAS, who your fine county council knows, did an EIR that suggested that the way to avoid getting the spore up in people, making them sick, was to put elevated garden beds. Now, that is far from the dream that I know you were having, Supervisor Kuehl, Supervisor Solis, of a safe, healthy environment for women to get back on track under Mr. Ridley Thomas's supervision and tutelage by busing women from South Los Angeles to a place almost 4 or 5 hours away in the Antelope Valley. So what can I tell you? I support the Castaic project. I'm very opposed to the jail project at Miraloma. And on Thursday of this week, your Civilian Oversight Commission will hear about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Barger.
Request to speak.
I see. There you are. Supervisor Barger.
Thank you. Amy, some of the allegations regarding the wildlife and all, could you respond to that in terms of what your department's done as it relates to the concerns by the people that are appealing?
Certainly. Madam Chair, members of the supervisors, we feel very confident that the supplemental EIR and all of the environmental reviews that were done are more than adequate, not only meet the minimum requirements of CEQA, but actually go above and beyond that. So we're incredibly comfortable with the responses that have been provided by the developer. They've been reviewed by County Council and the Planning Department, and we absolutely support moving forward with this project.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, the applicant made a comment about the 5 freeway being a barrier as it relates to wildlife, and it's not. I mean, and so I've been told that that Edison has the rights to some gates that go underneath the 5 freeway. Have we explored opening that up for a wildlife corridor for those animals?
We certainly can.
Yeah,
Yes.
Madam Chair, I mean, I think that's just good public policy across the board as it relates to anything that's going on where there's a freeway involved. I know even in the 2 freeway, or the 210 freeway, we've had bears on that freeway. And actually one was hit by a car. So I think that that's just something that we should explore as it relates to developments that are along those corridors.
In general, yes, absolutely.
So, Madam Chair, I want to thank the applicant and all 3 appellants for their testimony today. I appreciate the passion the applicants possess, as we must always find a way to balance the needs of protecting the environment with ensuring we have adequate housing stock to house our growing population. But the facts remain, we must build 180,000 units per year to keep up with current demand, which is highly unlikely. We are nowhere near meeting that goal. The main way we begin to tackle the affordability crisis in this county is to create a more supply, and this project is a step in that direction, including carving out 10% for affordable housing. The North Lake project will help meet demand for the new housing product in the north end of Castaic and will further spur economic investments in the community by creating new demand for products and services. And I have gone out there and toured the area, and so I have seen the boarded up buildings that were built for businesses with the anticipation that these housing developments were going to go in, and they did not because of economic downturn. And so this is a very important component to bringing markets and shopping opportunities up to the residents of the Castaic area. The applicant has been thoughtful in their approach to the project, making adjustments to the project along the way in order to ensure the proper balance and create a better project. I have agreed to the 10% affordable housing. They have agreed to the 10% affordable housing, EV charging stations, solar panels on homes, a public sports park, and increased open space, as well as putting in the trails. Additionally, the Castaic Town Council and the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber have voiced their support for the project, a critical benchmark of community support. I am confident this project will help to boost the local economy, and I ask that my fellow board members support this project. I would ask that the board adopt the supplemental EIR associated with the environmental assessment number 201500030 and indicate its intent to adopt the findings and fact statement of overriding consideration, and that the board indicate its intent to approve the project, deny the appeals, and instruct County Council to prepare the necessary findings to affirm the Commission's approval of VTTM 7336 tentative parcel map number TR07335 and conditional use permit number 201500019. I would ask that the board consider that, Madam Chair.
All right, I have a motion. Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, and I want to thank our department and also thank Supervisor Catherine Barger for being able to at least put forward a plan that makes a better improvement based on concerns from communities. And my question is really more, maybe this is too late since this has been in the works for some time, but was there an effort to look at provisions for local hire or a PLA on this project?
The county actually is working on some guidelines for a PLA, but there is no ordinance in place. Any public improvements that they will have to make related to this project will be required to meet state prevailing wage regardless. So we can certainly work with them and with WEDAX to put together a local hire program. That's very easily accomplished, and we're happy to do that if that's the desire of the board.
I would suggest that we explore that. It'd be critical. I mean, if we're talking about building up a whole new community out there, certainly you want people to have good wages to be able to afford even the affordable houses there, as Mr. Ford used to say, right? If you can build a car, you should be able to buy one because you receive salaries that allow you to do that. The other thing I wanted to ask was, I understand that we're going to be looking at shuttle service at zero emission, which is great. And I'm wondering if there's a way to maybe, now that I'm serving on AQMD, they have a whole host of programs incentivizing shuttle service, bus service for low emission. It's always good for communities to understand how to apply.
Absolutely.
Those are good things to push out, not just on this particular project, but on others. I think those are laudable programs that we ought to be taking advantage of.
We're happy to take other people's money
And
for
again,
transit.
Well, it's not taking, it's applying. And the city has to, work with, obviously the county, could certainly be helpful there.
Certainly.
And then just lastly on the environmental issues, this area is beautiful. I know I had family that would picnic and camp out there for many, many years. And I know we have a housing shortage, but I also am very obviously concerned about the environment. So I want to make sure whatever mitigations that are set up appropriately, that we really follow through on that. Because this can be a good example of how we can do something right in a community. But I get it. This has been on the books since 1992. So,
Although it has been on the books since 1992, it is a modern interpretation of 1992. And I think that's the beauty of this, is that the developer has worked very carefully to understand the environment within which they are now trying to develop. And so it's a very nice balance of dealing with the environment that they're in and then trying to meet those housing needs. And so the supplemental EIR does support those efforts.
Great. Okay. With that, then I have no objection to moving forward.
All right, so moved in second. I do not support this. I am not convinced that the agreements made by applicants to do things that do help the community are really sufficient in terms of answering the environmental concerns. And also, it's always interesting to me when 10% of the housing is referred to as affordable, and the 90%, of course, is at market. And I always wonder whether people who actually live in Castaic would be able to afford to buy a house there at market. But I understand the concerns of the community. The environmental concerns, however, are much more serious to me. We have a number of issues, as you know, with mountain lions and the crossings on the 101. A utility tunnel doesn't do it. There is something that allows wildlife to know they can cross, and sometimes, it's even the existence of a tunnel, it's still a barrier because it doesn't look like a really wonderful place to get from one place to another. The creek was the major concern as well. As you know, my planning commissioner did not support this, and I agree with her assessment. So I will be abstaining on this motion. So anyone else wishing to comment? All right, let's call the roll on the motion.
The item before you is item 11, Supervisor Solis. Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Ridley Thomas?
Aye.
Supervisor Ridley Thomas, aye. Supervisor Hahn? Aye. Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger? Supervisor Barger, aye. Supervisor Kuehl?
I abstain.
Supervisor Kuehl abstain. Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention.
All right, the item 11 has been approved. The next item on our agenda is the combined items of item 22 and item 25, both of which deal with the same subject matter but are slightly different. They have been held by Supervisors Barger and Solis. So shall I go to Supervisor Barger first to talk about these items?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Faith-based organizations have always been at the forefront of identifying needs in their local communities and helping the disadvantaged in many different ways. We have all witnessed the immense power and impact they have when their resources are harnessed, whether it is locally run food banks, temporary housing, childcare, toy drives, clothing donations, or meal programs. Many years ago, the county actively engaged with the faith-based organizations across the region to help recruit foster parents and support the most vulnerable among us, our foster youth. Unfortunately, over the years, those efforts waned, but our needs here in LA County have actually grown. While our coordinated engagement with faith-based organizations seemed to stop, they have not faltered in their commitment to serving children in need. And I have seen the results firsthand. I have a brother and sister-in-law who were interested in becoming foster parents, but rather than go down the traditional path of licensing through the county, they became involved with an innovative program through Olive Crest called Safe Families. Olive Crest recruits volunteers through its network of churches to take in children and youth in temporary basis for families in crisis. And in my brother's case and my sister-in-law, a woman fled domestic violence, had 5 children, was living in a 1-bedroom motel, and had serious health needs. Her biggest fear was that her children would be taken away and put into the foster care system. She reached out for help. The children were each placed in foster care, in my brother's case, for 6 months. She was able to get the health care she needed, and the children were then placed back with her in housing that was put together through the resources that were available down in Orange County. That is an example of where it was a win-win. The courts were not involved. The children were put in safe housing, and the mother was able to get the care she needed. And we all talk about trauma as it relates to the impact that foster care has on children. So I have seen firsthand how this works. And the length of stay can range anywhere from 3 days to 1 year. But it is completely voluntary and provides for children with their birth parents the need to seek domestic violence shelter, substance abuse treatment, or simply to get back on their feet financially. As the largest welfare agency in the county with approximately 35,000 children in our system, we need to do a better job of harnessing the support that is out there and the growing new programs that reflect the needs of our local regions. We are fortunate to have the welcome input of the philanthropic community and the interest of supporting child welfare agencies. I know in my district, All Saints Episcopal Church in Pasadena has been at the forefront of innovative programs supporting the Department of Children and Family Services. Last year, we hosted the Fostering Home event aimed at family support and resource family recruitment. Out of this was born the South Los Angeles Foster Care Ministry. The county, along with our wonderful partners in philanthropy and our advocates at the Commission for Children and Families, know that the children and families that we serve need more, and who better to partner with in the faith-based community. Today's motion will help the Department of Children and Family Services develop overarching long-term strategy to work with local faith-based communities and provide services and programs that can have the greatest impact on children and families. I would like to thank Supervisor Solis for co-authoring this motion with me and for our joint commitment to partnering with faith-based organizations to provide meaningful resources to help the most vulnerable among us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, and thank you, Supervisor Barger, for joining me on what we call the African American Community Engagement Motion, and for having me also co-author on your faith-based motion. Today's motions represent a unique and much-needed collaboration with our faith-based communities here in LA County. I'd like to thank Pastor Ivory Brown, Dr. Matt Harris, and Dr. Jeanette Mann for joining us here today. And I also want to thank DCFS for its leadership on the faith-based effort, and specifically our Pomona DCFS office for addressing disproportionately across LA County's foster care system. A significant amount of research has been documented, and it tells us that there is an overrepresentation of African American children in foster care. For several years, the Department of Children and Family Services, with support from private partners, has worked to address racially disproportionality and disparity, and with a particular emphasis on the Pomona area and African American children. New efforts such as the African American Community Engagement Program may also be employed to further reduce disproportionality among African American children in foster care through faith-based collaboration. ACE was created by the community and for the community. The program leverages program navigators. We usually call them promotoras, but community navigators nonetheless. They know, they're trusted, and they're able to use their multidisciplinary skills and approach to support our families with a multi-generational involvement in the child welfare system through faith and community-based resources. I'm eager to pilot the program in Pomona, especially because we're also doubling down our efforts to recruit foster parents in the community and surrounding area of Pomona and Pomona Valley. And we're hoping that this weekend's Fostering Home event will help us achieve those goals. It's my hope that if we support parents with additional resources, the faith community, that we can safely reduce the number of children in care while also concurrently building our pool of foster families for those children who are most in need. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and I'm happy that we have several witnesses, I believe, that will be testifying. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Hahn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to offer my support to Supervisor Barger and Solis on this motion. I really support this. I've known for a long time that the faith-based community is truly an untapped resource for our families that need help, especially families that are involved in our child welfare system. There's, I think, so many ways our churches, our mosques, our temples, our synagogues can help. They can recruit members of their congregation to be foster parents or mentors. They can provide a safe, comfortable place for parents to connect with their children under reunification. And they can offer a supportive community of people that will really help these families. This motion will help make that necessary connection to communities of faith all over the county that we know are really willing and able to help. I know this is a report back on how we're going to do this. I've had conversations with Bobby Cagle about this very issue, and I know he's very supportive of this and looking forward to it. I'm particularly interested in this one piece of this motion in the report back that will have us explore whether a centralized unit within the Department of Children and Family Services should be established to help manage and coordinate that. I will be very interested in that. I think that's a good idea. I think DCFS has so many things they're dealing with right now. They have so many responsibilities. I would be interested to see how that report comes back and says whether or not that's a viable option. I think it should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to give a shout out to the author and co-author and just affirm that I believe that faith institutions have long served as the backbones of our communities across the board. That's what they do. It shows a considerable amount of wisdom that both Supervisors Solis and Barger have come forward. I think we ought to know that they are in some ways just simply irreplaceable. And when they do what they do, and when they are at their best, they have led our communities through the colloquial expression, through many dangers, toils, and snares. Hold on here. And so, you know, they fought for fair wages and workers' rights and refugee rights and racial equality, struggled to end violence. Our tapping into faith-based institutions just makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm pleased to be supportive of this initiative as it moves forward and materializes. And so the work of faith-based institutions goes deep in terms of the indigenous elements in our communities and how they can be helped, whether it be from child protection and services for transition-aged youth, support for families and relative caregivers, and resource family recruitment, and many others. I've seen these in their very nascent forms in various faith-based contexts. They are the pioneers. You may recall it was in May of last year that the board approved a motion to support a resource family recruitment convening at Center of Hope church in Inglewood. They been doing nicely, and since then the partnership with DCFS and philanthropy and Center for Strategic Public-Private Partnerships, they have 5 houses of worship, and they've come together to form the Faith Foster Family Network, and they're formalizing their partnership with an MOU this coming week, coincidentally. So I know what can happen when these institutions put their arms around each other and around the communities of which they are a part. Everybody is made better, and so Supervisor Barger, Supervisor Solis, thank you for reminding us of this and helping to bring this to scale in an important way, and I look forward to the report back as we move forward. Thank you again. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you all. I, too, am in support of these 2 motions. I think that it's very important to engage communities of faith. However, I want to remind my colleagues that several months ago we did ask for a report back on the way our various departments help and deal with LGBTQ kids. And part of that report indicated that a full 20% of our foster children self-identified as LGBTQ, and that's people who talk about it, and could be even higher. I have always been grateful for and admired the way our communities of faith have stepped up on so many social justice issues. But I also have the experience of bringing the bill to protect LGBTQ children in the legislature. And the strongest opposition came from churches who opposed every attempt that we made to protect them from harassment and discrimination. I want to think the world has changed. I want to think that these children will be welcome and safe in foster care, and that these programs at least pay attention to, not solely, but in addition to the fact that so many of our children are either in the LGBTQ community or questioning, which is what the Q actually is for, in case you didn't know. So I look forward to the testimony from those invited to speak and those who have signed up to speak, and I will vote yes, as I always do, with hope. So please call those who were invited to speak.
Would Pastor Ivory Brown, Dr. Matthew Harris, and Dr. Jeanette Mann please come forward, and staff will assist you.
Welcome. Please have a seat. Go ahead, please.
Should we just start? All right, I'll be happy to start. My name is Jeanette Mann. I'm obviously speaking in support of this. I'm representing the Foster Care Project, which is the ministry of All Saints Church. I have some prepared remarks, but I'm going to deviate from them to assure you that All Saints Church has been at the forefront of welcoming LGBTQ people, and that we have particularly young people. We partner with a resource agency for LGBTQ youth. We have a couple of priests who are lesbians, and we have had the same experience you have had, in that we have often been contacted and asked if the church could send the foster parents in their church who may be lesbians to our church, and we always say you should do this, but anyone's welcome. So I took a lot of my time on that, but I feel very strongly about that. I just want to say the Foster Care Project, tell you a little bit about the Foster Care Project. We partner with 37 agencies that serve at-risk youth. Each year we recruit more than 140 volunteers who serve as mentors, tutors, coach monitors, special friends, or personal shoppers for more than 1,000 young people. Through our Birthday Club and Angel Tree Christmas program, we provide gifts to another 1,000 children. Our family reunification program, Family Connect, is a model for the county. We have 7 sites and 6 part-time consultants. I can see my time is up. I support this collaboration. I think it's a win-win for everyone, particularly for the children who will get the services. DCFS will have an entry into the community that they do not have. But most of all, I think the members of the faith-based community will benefit from the experience they have when they touch the lives of these children. And so I was going to tell you a story about a particular child, but I went off of the response otherwise.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it and acknowledge the really fine work over the decades of All Saints. Next speaker, please.
Madam Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors, my name is Dr. Matt Harris. I'm the Executive Director for Project Impact and also the ACE Task Force Coordinator, and I am an ordained minister. I'm here in support of the faith-based initiative and in particular the African American Community Engagement Program. As you know, the problem of race disparity in our child welfare system continues to plague our community. It is a problem both locally and across our nation. However, we have come to understand that it is difficult to understand or to speak about the success and the development of the African American community without acknowledging and engaging the outstanding contribution of the African American faith-based community. It is our hope by engaging the faith-based community that we would accomplish 4 goals. Those 4 goals include to reduce race disparity in our child welfare system, to reduce out-of-home placement, detention, which includes detention, prison, foster care. Number 3, to increase family reunification. And number 4, to increase the continuum of care through engagement with our faith-based community. We believe that through our united efforts, it is our hope to offer a best practice faith-based model that would reduce race disparity among African American families in Los Angeles County. Present here with me today in support of the ACE program is Pastor Ivory Brown. He will speak to the support and partnership of the Church of God in Christ, which is one of our nation's largest African American denominations in our country. I would like to take this time to thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
My name is Ivory Brown. I'm the senior pastor of Brown Memorial Temple. I serve in the city of Pomona. Our church has been in existence for 55 years. I'm here today because I do want to say thank you, Supervisor Solis. Thank you, Supervisor, and excuse me if I mispronounce the name, but Baron Barger. I'm going to get there. One of the things I also see is that while it's good for us to be exposed to how government operates, I'm not sure if I want my people to see that there's a clock that limits my time speaking. I have a dry wit, so bear with me. I'm here today to support both these motions. Both motions utilizes the strength of the faith community. It's already been stated that the faith community is a sleeping giant. We have so much to offer. And while there has been efforts in the past to engage us, many pastors, they are dual occupations. They have to work a full-time job. They do not get a salary from their church, and they do not know how to engage. Through the ACE project, we will go out and we will reach out to the faith communities, to the churches, to the synagogues, to the mosques. We will reach out to all communities, and we will try to help eliminate racial disparity, disproportionality, and implicit bias. It is the job of the church. While these are your constituents, these are our congregants. While you deal with them and try to deal with their needs, we have to also deal with them. So why aren't we working together? Thank you for this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Please call the balance of those who've signed up to speak on this item.
Will the following individuals please come forward when I call your name? Eric Previn, Dr. Genevieve Calaverel, Linda Smith, Oliver Bowie, Reverend Dr. Mello Desire, Ricker Larson, Victor Trujillo, Mary Jacobs, and Bont P.S. Please come forward and staff will assist you.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the other supervisors that are sitting. I want to first thank you for your visionary leadership once again to see the value within the faith community. The things that have been proposed, let me just say I am the Minister of Community Engagement at Holman United Methodist Church, where we are already actively engaged in the 5 congregations in which Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas spoke of. We are already a part of that. Also, let me say personally, I am also working in the area as a cultural broker myself personally, so I am engaged, and being a part of the faith community, we do care. And Supervisor Kuehl, I'd like to express to you that the God that I serve, he loves the whole world, and he's included. And I want to assure you that we at Holman United Methodist Church and those that are working will be extra sensitive. And I thank you for raising that and bringing it. That, so we will pay extra attention to make sure that we serve that community. It's important. And I just want to thank you for your leadership, and as I'm in support of it, now that I'm working in that area, I'm working with DCFS currently right now. We actually host a teen club, so this area is needed, and the faith-based community has always been there, and we will continue to be there, and this will give us more resources to even do a bigger and better job. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Okay, I'm a big mouth today. I'm sorry. I just would like to thank you for the great idea. I want to caution you, however, of not just like what Supervisor Sheila Kuehl said about some possibility of prejudice. I married a Jewish man. I was brought up Catholic. And I can't tell you how important it is for whoever it is the mother and the father of the children that are foster kids, for them to have their religious beliefs verified or whatever, acknowledged in whoever it is that takes their children. I personally feel that if, like my I don't know if you call her my friend or my enemy, but there's a woman named Rodica who is like a niece, and she's Jewish, and her children were put with Christian families, and she really was upset. And, I think you have to realize that I have aunts who wouldn't even come to my wedding because I was marrying somebody who killed Christ. And so when you place people, take in mind that whatever their families, whatever their blood is, if they're of the tribe of Israel, they may not really want to be in a Catholic or a Christian or Islamic church or temple. So even though I think it's a great idea, you have to respect everybody's particular religion, and that includes the families of the people, not only the parents that might have been wrong to do something and that's why you took them away, but the grandparents. I know my mother and father-in-law, Jewish people, would throw up if they thought their children were going to be baptized or confirmed because, they were in foster care. So just keep in mind, don't be anti-Semitic, don't be anti-gay, and I really like religion. I like them all, but you have to realize that some people are not like that, and you have to be careful not to step on anybody's toes and hurt your feelings inadvertently.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening. So this is a much needed agenda. Faith-based communities coming together, partnering with DCFS. And Ivy Brown made a very important point. Yes, the churches are sleeping giants of the neighborhood, but the problem is they're still sleeping. So with that being said, a lot of our youth, especially in South LA that I'm focused on, resources for DCFS is very few, far in between. So this initiative by Solis and Barger, I appreciate you even bringing this to the table. Now, a lot of funding that's coming to the neighborhoods, a lot of the churches don't rectify it as of now, so I don't know what that kick will be that will actually have them help their community as they should. But one thing that disturbs me is that a lot of these organizations, faith-based or not, has applied for a mini grant September 17th through Cal Mesa, Mental Health Services Authority, in which on September 17th, Katie Chiquicua, I believe that's the wife of John, decided to send an email blast to 393 LA County organizations. 393 LA-based organizations who for many years have been trying to provide social services to the community have been given a group email blast that denied them even a grant. But they put us all in one email so everyone can see who lost. So with that being said, when you're taking money away, which is almost $2 million for these 393 LA organizations to be denied, then you have an agenda item initiating more resources for faith-based and our children. A lot of these organizations were applying for grants just like that. So why are we taking away from one to add to another? And there's at least $12 million in Department of Mental Health that could be out already, especially in South LA, that's needed. So let's not put the cart before the horse, but we appreciate this agenda being recognized.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, my name is Ricker Larson, and I have schizophrenia, and I'm asking under the Americans with Disability Act that I get extended time today to discuss what I'm talking about, because it's hard for me to discuss things rationally and quietly.
Sorry, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
You've received a letter from my doctor stating that I should be given extra time, and you've given no legal or medical reason as to why you're not giving me that. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you are required by law to accommodate me. It's hard for me to speak about my rape. It's hard for me to speak about how the County of Los Angeles doesn't care that my mother was in the room next to me when I got raped by the Deputy Director of the Health Department. But you want people like Wes Ford to go out into the community and to take advantage of churches, take advantage of people in those churches so that they can fulfill their sick sexual needs. What you're really saying by not was I raped by the Deputy Director of the Health Department or not? Your own legal team, CEOPD, says I was raped by the Deputy Director of the Health Department. If Wes Ford raped a kid under the age of 18, would you allow him to say, oh, that kid begged me to have sex with him? No, of course not. But what about an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old who goes to visit a friend in the hospital and then has sex with that friend because the person is too unconscious to be able to give consent? According to your logic, like Wes Ford, that person should not be held accountable. That's your logic. You believe that there's no reason to hold Wes Ford accountable for rape, but you want to go out and do these community partnerships. That's the thing I was involved in. I was involved in a community partnership with the County of Los Angeles, the LA Health Department, and the Centers for Disease Control, and I got raped at my job. And my boss didn't use a condom. I had a broken pelvis in 2 places and a broken shoulder. My mother was in the other room. She saw the condition I was in before I was raped. I couldn't walk. I couldn't sit up. This entire section of my body was destroyed. But you want faith-based people to have people like Wes.
Let the record reflect that we accommodated you by allowing you to speak for 2 minutes, not on the subject of this.
That was on the subject.
It was not.
My rape is not a subject. You're
it
saying
is
that
not
Wes
on
Ford,
the subject of the matter on the agenda. And you know it, Mr. Ricker, because you're here every week, and you know that. So we accommodated you and your schizophrenia.
You've never given me...
By giving you 2 minutes, not on this subject. So you're finished for this time.
How is this not on the subject? Just explain to me why Wes Ford should be able to go out and engage with these faith-based communities.
We're done here.
What?
You're done with this particular 2 minutes.
Okay. Well.
Next speaker, please.
All right. I'm Linda Smith, and I'm his mother. I am going to ask a couple of questions. I had something planned to say, but it's not on this particular subject. I do understand that it is important that you have faith-based people who are able to take in foster care. However, in my son's case, he needs answers, and this county is not giving him answers because you have not allowed him to even talk to the health department. If you want him to do it in a different setting, then you need to give him a forum in which he can get his answers in a different forum. And as far as faith-based foster care, that's a great idea. But I hope you have very good sources in which to make sure all children are safe no matter where they're at. Because there's a lot of sexual abuse that goes on in foster care. I know because I was a therapist for a long time. And I've seen how many young children grew up and reported that they were sexually abused. So make sure you check that out. But I would like my son to have answers to his questions. I know for a fact that what he keeps reporting to you happened. And as far as I'm concerned, it was unethical, immoral, and legally wrong. So this county and the health department are responsible, and they need to give him answers to his questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Victor Trujillo. I think that if I was in the beginning of the year watching this happen with the kids getting raped and now this program, I think it's more of a cover-up because if we were working in Europe, we use kids, we need IDs, we need social security numbers. These kids go into a private, holy faith religion group. We are ruining ourselves. We're bringing it back while we're trying to fix our immigration. What are we doing? This is all a cover-up, and we have to stop playing the lawyer buff with organized crime. You do not give another group, you're giving it because somebody doesn't want to fire their employees. There's a game going on. We need to stop playing the games. I'm a grown man, I'm 51 years old, I know about this, and I see it. When I see the kids getting killed, I say, hey, you know what? Somebody smart ass is working behind it, and we're working these people like a fiddle. But this is not a riddle. This is a joke because you're using the kids. We get their IDs, social security numbers. They get transferred and they bring people into this country, or the kids get raped, like the woman just said. We do not play this charity game. It's a buffer. We need to back off and start analyzing what are we doing. We're sharing these little programs for 6 months. We're washing thoughts away. We're playing with people's feelings. We need to analyze exactly what is your idea? What is your clue? What are you telling us? If you were a grown person or a grown mother or great-grandmother or grandfather, attorneys and all, even the employees of the city, would you go ahead and knowing that you died on a plane, your kid goes in the welfare system and they're going to be played, their social security is going to be used, and then later on they could be lost in our system. We do not play this game. Stop it. Wake up. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Board of Supervisors, Dr. Genevieve Claverol. I am totally in support of the motion. I want to thank Supervisor Solis and Barger to bring it. But I'm not convinced we should have it inside of the CFS. I think it would be maybe better to have a neutral, group outside. That's my feel. And I know you have tried to do a lot of things about the foster children. I am very impressed because it's very often having to do with it. I think this is a great idea, but I think it should be an independent type of unit that answer directly to you, the supervisor, not to the CFS.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers who've signed up?
We have one speaker at Lancaster.
All right. Let us go to Lancaster for speaker on this item. These two items, actually.
Oh. Hey, hi. The two speakers, I guess I had a heart, and what the man has said, organized crime, there's unalienable rights, and And like this right here, I found it became of the earth, and what I'm working with is time. Those sundials, and it was mercury, sort of mercury, but I don't. There's an entry into like the Supreme Court and to the things that should have been, and there wasn't, and could have been, and would have, and so you can't. And the other lady said you can't define someone. You take away someone's kid because you don't understand. You got to define as a social service that defined by number what that parent did wrong, not because I'm finding mercury in the ground just for fun when I clean. We are. The Meteor Center, and so it's probably going to be like really humid right next, but not extremely humid because something compensated. Oh, there's the stars were falling like rain. The stars were falling out of the sky like rain, so it's not going to be that humid probably. And then we have with the vectors is because he was meaning like the vectors, and there's like actual human chemicals that and so the hospital board. It will be paid for by half because we have all new industries and technologies, which there has to be the safeguards, and then also, to give the commerce something like fuel utility tax, and then take it away. No, come on, you guys are on board. To accommodate for people like me in the public zone, and. The firehouses.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's all the speakers who signed up to speak on items 22 and 25. I have a motion by Supervisor Barger, seconded by Supervisor Solis. Is there any objection to a unanimous vote on those two items? All right. Seeing none, that will be the action. At this time, it would be appropriate to hear from members of the public who have requested to address the board on items that are on the agenda, but were not held by supervisors. The item announced under item A7 will be taken up under special items because Supervisor Solis is going to read in a motion for next week. So let us go then to those who signed up to speak on items on the agenda.
Would the following individuals please come forward when I call your name? Jen McLeod requested to address the board on item 16. The following individuals has requested to address the board on item 16. Carolyn Patton, Donna Grayson, Frank Jenkins, Janet Mendez. Linda Smith has requested to address the board on items 23, 32A, 32C, 35, CS1. Big Money Griffin requested to address the board on CS2. George Bersetti has requested to address the board on items 23, 32C, 32D, 35, CS1, CS2. Dr. Reverend Mello Desire requested to address the board on items 32C. Eric Previn has requested to address the board on items 1D, 15, 16, 19, 23, 26, 32A, 32B, 32C, 32D, 35, CS1, and CS2. Dr. Genevieve Claverell has requested to address the board on items 32C and D. Ricker Larson has requested to address the board on items 23, 32A, 32C, and 35.
Welcome. Go ahead,
Hi.
please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jen McEllier. I'm with the Watt Companies. I'm here to only address any questions to the extent there are any on items 1D and 16. If not, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to speak about the raises you want to give your high-level executives. It doesn't seem to me like any high-level executive I know deserves to get a raise when you treat people the way you've treated me. Your statement to me is that every rape victim is treated like me. Every rape victim has the police called on them and said, if you ask questions, you'll be arrested. Every rape victim is told, oh, this is an easy subject for you to talk to. You don't get any accommodations. Every rape victim in the health care, that they can be fired from their job. You know what your legal team said about me being fired? They said that I was fired in the middle of a rape investigation, that no determination made by the district attorney's office, but I was fired without cause. All of that confirmed. after testimony from your own highest level executives, some of the same people that you're going to actually promote and give these raises to, have said that my rape doesn't matter, that what happened to me doesn't matter, that I'm not a good person, that I'm not allowed on county property, I'm not allowed to seek county services. You won't deny that. I mean, you had the police tell me that I'm no longer allowed to call any county government, period, for the rest of my life. My mother's here to testify to that. Why is it that I don't have any rights? I don't have the right to get assistance with my medical problems from the county? I've been told that I'm denied because I'm on a blacklist. In the county office, there is a list of people who you call the police if they call the office, and my name's on the list, and I have it in a statement from my own therapist who was told that I'm on a list that automatically goes to the police station. The thing about it is the LAPD is the ones that you're supposed to be sending me to, not the LA County sheriffs. And according to your own people, the reason why you're sending me to the wrong district, to the wrong legal system, is because you can control what you say and what they say. And the truth is, you don't want to hear about how you denied me all my rights, but you won't answer one simple question. Was I raped by the deputy director of the health department? Was I raped by the deputy director of the health department?
Next speaker, please.
You're awesome, man.
Thank you, sir. You want to give me extra time so I can talk more?
No.
Madam
But you're cool.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and listeners to the sound of my voice, I rise on behalf of all LA County employees for state wealthy tax Proposition 30 and Proposition 55 money. $2 billion of the $6 billion are for California counties from years 2011 to 2018. Proposition 30 guarantees local public safety services. We all provide local public safety services. Tables 201 and 211 sent me, the Lone Ranger, to make you an offer you cannot refuse because it's the state wealthy tax money, not LA's money. $1,000 million equals $1 billion. You have $14 to $21 billion. What is $75 million to that kind of money? Just sitting and waiting for your LA board approval. This is the first time in California history this board has a salary option for state money as opposed to our LA County money. And just real quickly, I know you can't take blood from a turnip, but salary raises will help stimulate our LA economy. Our rent's too high. We want to attend concerts, basketball, football, baseball games. We deserve this opportunity to receive this kind of raise. The people who I'm asking for is the public safety workers, sheriffs, nurses and doctors, home care workers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Thank you, buddy.
George Mazzetti, former Director of Policy for Congress for Racial Equality of California. Let's see now, you threw item 13 into the trash, item 23 into the trash, item 28 into the trash, item 30 into the trash, 31 into the trash. Did you throw that one into the trash? Yeah, you did. Gee, I spent a whole day preparing for you guys to throw everything into the trash, and a lot of it because I sent you this stuff this morning so you'd have to respond. Like your illegal trying to do the Health Department and Public Defender's Office. So, having to do with 32C, afterward we listen to this man that comes here all the time and all these other people that you don't care, that their lives are ruined by these filthy pigs. You shouldn't appoint that person. And public social services. Your filthy people illegally took my Medi-Cal 3 times, tried a 4th time recently, and you, Sheila Kuehl, you called me the Avatar, and then this board, and I have the documents, had me thrown to the state mental hospital, forced drugs on me that could kill me at my age. I'm 71, fools. That means you all have elder abuse. Do you know that's 5 years? And this fool right here is up at the state bar right now. And because of what you've done the last few days and doing right here today, I'm giving him more addendums, more names. Your filthy people and your filthy running of this place, allowing crimes, okay? AB 1909, fool. Give me my exculpatory evidence after 5 years. And I was illegally prosecuted in court last Monday by a DA with a misdemeanor. Illegal since 1915 and a 2009 LA City Charter, idiots. Section 271. So you are co-conspirators in federal crimes because Chief Beck, go to fraudbuster.org and watch Chief Beck and the LAPD Police Commission erase the audio to the meeting, which is a felony when they load it to the web, is interstate commerce, now eligible with you to be prosecuted under the Hobbs Act, government corruption, because that's what you do here, and RICO, organized crime. And if you think that this is funny, and if you think that you have the right to have me in the mental court because I don't know what a damn judge is, huh? I think it's obvious I know what's going on, and it's your obligation to immediately stop this garbage. So, here's the written presentations, and public. Before you come here, before the meeting, submit to these filthy people your comments so they have to respond.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
Yes. I'd like to know where my son can go to get answers to his questions. Because
you could come back during public comment and ask that.
He's not allowed to talk to the health department. The sheriff's department was told, I know because I was on the phone when they told him that.
But ma'am, do you want to testify during public comment? Because this is about items on the agenda.
I just want you to give me a name or a place where I can have him go, because this forum isn't the appropriate forum, and I can see that.
I think you're right.
A forum where he can get answers.
All right. Let me ask one of our representatives of the Department of Mental Health to talk to this mother about the answer to her question. In the front row, please, and they'll meet you there in a minute. But you can also come back during public comment if you wish.
Well, my public comment is I think it's unfortunate and it's sad.
No, I mean when we have public comment, little tiny bit later.
So it's not public comment now, that's fine.
No, this is about stuff on the agenda.
Okay.
So really, we'll get to it in just a few minutes.
So let me ask you this. I can go somewhere and you will have someone from the health department talk to me.
Right there. Right, just behind you.
Okay, where is it?
Just behind you. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes. So I want to talk to you about Christina Galley's payment increase, which is awesome. I'm sure she deserves it, for health services. And one of the issues that I brought up was the lack of transparency with the health department as well as DMH, but we're more so about the health department. So we filled out for grants, as we mentioned before, and was turned down. We see that salary is not an issue. Increase of pay for employment, which I'm sure is really necessary. But we also have to think about the $15 that we're fighting not to give local workers as well, while we increase the payment for Department of Health Services employees. So in 60 days, I would like to have the California Mental Health Services Authority to, on their website, to have the total amount of awardees for the CalMESA mini grant. They had George Hills, which is a TPA, to decide on the fate of these grants for 393 LA County organizations. We asked that the name of the awardees that were awarded the mini grant be posted as well. Their company modules, so other organizations can find out what the winning structure is for these grants, and the total amount of funding given for this mini grant. We also would like a 5-signature letter of apology from the Board of Supervisors to all of the 393 LA organizations listed for denial and as to why they were denied. So we'd like John, Chris Kimona, Susan Lagar, Randy Redding, Pat Vitale from George Hills to actually give us these answers within 60 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors, Dr. Geneviève Clavron. I will have liked to know how many people were interviewed for that position of DHS. I am concerned that you hire Dr. Gali for a full-time position, especially at a salary of $412,000, who is way above the private sector for that kind of position, and especially from someone of a credential. You know, many years ago, people were complaining that the government were not paying enough. Now, many times I'm seeing salary in disproportion of the private sector. And we are not talking about the benefit and so on, and that greatly concerned me. Dr. Gali have not presented a report on DHS for many, many months. And I think it will have been appropriate to have her deal with a report who was passed today and postponed on October 2nd. If she's so good and you promoted her, I don't know what that report was not dealt with. That was a minimum what she could have done for $416,000. That's what I would have expected. Especially that repeatedly those reports have not been dealt with. And those reports are not looking good. Look at your dashboard. It shows the last few months we have canceled surgery right and left at USC because we don't have nurses to do the surgery and so on. So I'm not very happy. I'm not happy for 32D, but I don't know Antonia Jimenez, but he's also a very steep salary for our position. Thank you.
Thank you. Any speakers remain?
No other speakers, Madam Chair.
All right. So all those who signed up to speak on agenda items have spoken. So please tell us which agenda items we'll be voting on now.
The items before you are items 1D, 15, 16, 19, 23, 26, 32A, 32B, 32C, 32D, and 35.
All right. Moved by Supervisor Ridley Thomas, seconded by Supervisor Hahn. Any objection to a unanimous vote on those items? Seeing none, that will be the order. We go then to specials requested by Supervisor Solis.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I know that many of you are aware that on Saturday, September the 22nd, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced a proposed rule change which would expand the definition of public benefits as it relates to the public charge rule. The proposed legislation would force non-citizens to choose status in this country are afraid to access county services. Their public health and well-being, as well as that of every county resident, is at risk. We already know there are a lot in our community, especially in the immigrant communities, that are not signing up for many of our public services now because of what has been spewed by this administration. It is a county's responsibility to offer services to every county resident, regardless of immigration status, and therefore we also have a responsibility to do everything within our power to challenge and defeat this proposed rule. I want to emphasize, most importantly, that the proposed rule has not yet been published in the Federal Register. We know that, but not everybody knows that. And once published, there's expected to be a 60-day public comment period. And I would like to read in the following motion with actions this board can take to try to prevent this proposed rule from going into effect and to reassure our county residents that county services will continue to be offered to everyone who is eligible to receive them. I want to thank Madam Chair for joining me in co-authoring this very important motion that will be brought back next Tuesday. And it reads as follows. Please bear with me, members. We therefore move that the Board of Supervisors, 1, direct the Chief Executive Officer to send a 5-signature letter to the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, the Senate, the House leadership, and Los Angeles County Congressional Delegation to declare the Board's opposition to the proposed rule to change public charge determinations and express the significant harm that it would cause to Los Angeles County residents. Direct County Council, in coordination with the Office of Immigrant Affairs, to draft a comprehensive county response opposing the proposed rule to be submitted during the public comment period once the rule is published in the Federal Register. 3, direct the Office of Immigrant Affairs to collaborate with community-based organizations, the Los Angeles County Office of Education, affected departments, and other relevant stakeholders on public education and outreach, utilizing social media as well as other mediums to educate immigrant communities about available county services, to direct individuals to resources such as immigration advocates and legal clinics that could advise immigrants about the potential impacts of the proposed rule on their individual situations. And 4th, direct the CEO countywide communications in consultation with the Office of Immigrant Affairs, County Council, Los Angeles County Office of Ed, Education, and impacted county departments to design and execute a comprehensive internal and external communications strategy with respect to the proposed rule. The internal strategy should be unique to each department, consist of line staff training to achieve department-wide messaging consistency. The external strategy should be multilingual and culturally competent, consisting of public information and an outreach campaign to inform individuals about the availability of county services and encouraging continued access and enrollment in public benefit programs offered by the county. And 5th, instruct the County Council to analyze the proposed rule and to monitor any legal action aimed at challenging the proposed rule from taking effect, and present recommendations to the board to file and or join in an amicus or a plaintiff in litigation as deemed appropriate by County Council. And 6, direct the CEO in consultation with County Council to send a 5-signature letter from this board to the California Attorney General, Javier Becerra, expressing support for the state of California's continued efforts to protect the state's residents regardless of immigration status by taking any and all necessary action challenging the proposed rule. I'd like to thank County Council for helping us preparing for this motion, and also all our offices that helped to provide input, and I look forward to having this motion before us next Tuesday. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. So we'll hear that motion next week. I believe those were all of the specials that we were asked to consider. So at this time, it's appropriate to hear public comment. As I indicated earlier, each public comment will be limited to 1.5 minutes, which is the same thing I gave the first 5 speakers on public comment. We have 33 people signed up, so please call all those who signed up for public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will the following individuals please come forward and staff will assist you? Amador Cuevas, Anya Snow, Cheryl Goldstrand, Daryl Cruz, Eric Previn, Ezekiel Reyes, George Bizzetti, Graciela Mercado, Hannah Janeway, Irene Prang, Jason Calixto, Jewel D., Lawrence Dickerson, Linda Smith, Lisa Tyler, Lisa Vargas, MC Harris, Majid Maramnia, Mary Jacobs, Melva Calderon, Precious Young, Reverend Dr. Mello Desire, Ricker Larson, Robert Green, Roland Moody, Tanaya Meng, Victor Trujillo, Viridiana Fletes Frias, Red Chief Hunt, David Armstrong, Nicole Parsons, and Kenneth Batiste. Please come forward and staff will assist you.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Hannah Janeway. I am a 4th-year emergency medicine resident at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, one of your county facilities. I'm also a vice president with the Committee of Interns and Residents, and I'm on one of the bargaining teams that's currently negotiating our contract. I want to say first, it's an incredible privilege to serve the citizens of LA, especially the most vulnerable citizens that we have that come to our hospitals. And every one of us, every single resident, is incredibly dedicated to this patient population. As you might know, we work 80 hours a week. I worked last night, I'm working tonight. I'm here today because I have chosen to come and say that we are very, very concerned about the future of the residency programs at LA County facilities. We are falling behind in pay. We are falling behind in benefits. We don't have anything equivalent to any of the other residency programs in the area. Especially with the increasing housing prices, we are basically having a very difficult time recruiting the best residents to come serve our most difficult and complicated patients. And we are just trying to negotiate a fair contract that is, we're not even asking for it on par with the other residencies in LA. We just want a little bit better than we have. We've also felt very disrespected in the process. The residents are feeling, stressed and having to pay loans, and we're being set across by our negotiator telling us that we're students when we're actually, most of us, fully licensed physicians. I'm just asking you today to please consider negotiating a fair contract with us so we can consider serving the residents of this county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm Anya Snow. I graduated from medical school, but I chose to work for CIR, the Union for Interns, Residents, and Fellows, because somebody needs to speak up for these medical leaders. Honestly, if I were to go back to residency, I wouldn't survive. As the lead organizer in the area, I represent over 1,500 residents from LAC, USC, Harbor, UCLA, and MLK, and every day I see the challenges these doctors face and the sacrifices they make to take care of the sick of this county. I have residents sick with celiac disease whose only option that's gluten-free in the cafeteria is yogurt, and after 36-hour shift, that's the best they're eating, and they're paying out of pocket for their meals because county refuses to reimburse them for their meals, regardless of there being an allowance. I have residents who have newborns and 3-month-olds that they're unable to see except for the very rare days off that they have time off from their clinical duties in the OR, where they have to get creative just to see their children because they're not entitled to protected family leave. Meanwhile, they're drowning in medical school loans and bills. Many of them can't afford to live near the hospitals where they work. Every day I have residents telling me they're tired of borrowing money while their colleagues from other hospitals are receiving housing stipends upwards of $5,000. Many of these residents wanted to be here today, but they're busy performing their clinical duties, but they have emailed their public comments to you. Together with Dr. Janeway, we're begging you to pay attention to these issues and help us resolve them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm Irene. A concern. In the Social Security numbers violation, there are $4 billion at least, and thousands of billion dollars for the response and the penalty. Second, USA new pen business had to open. That confirmed the economy of the U.S. nation and the country stop their blocking finance to the social worker and the public. 3. Protection to the technology system working agents and officers and their family members are necessary and important to U.S. government. Set up the security system for their working and living place. 4. Stop the finance blocking to social worker and public, very hungry, and need to continue our work performance for U.S. government. Arrest and no execution to the street gang and robber and thief. Increase the policemen to the city El Monte based on the central system matter. 5. I've been paying and my family members working hard and had been done many important work in the technology to save the USA land and his citizens and the residents, ties, and others nation.
Thank you very much.
Save the earth and others in the solar system. My family members need credit and coverage to lose the real property.
Thank you very much.
And the personal property.
Madam, if you would like to, thank you. If your time has expired, but if you'd like to turn the rest of your written statement in, we'll read it. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Amador Cuevas, a senior citizen, victim of fraud, violation of my constitutional rights in a case never proven happened. This case was inflated to $3.2 million just to satisfy its value, so Mr. Stephen J. Horn could illegally acquire it. With the collusion of this conspiracy of several lawyers, doctors, sheriff, and some other government departments. I'm living in terror and pushing to criminality in order to recover my property, which was illegally stolen. And because of this, I'm about to become homeless and a burden to the system. I ask your guidance, and you have ignored me. I'll never stop asking and seeking for justice. And Mr. Stephen J. Horn can really live in peace because I'll never do any harm to him because that's what I was told by our lawyers. They said, either they kill you, they have tried, or you kill them. That's the only way you can get your property or lose it forever. So, you give me please help. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. I am Darrell Cruz, and I agreed to work with Rick Velasquez on May 27, 2005, but it hasn't worked out that well. In September of 2015, after years of failure on the county's part, I finally got a sit-down meeting with Rick Velasquez. I sent in talking points. He didn't show up. Well, in November, they still hadn't done a thing, so on November 17, 2015, I came down here and I signed up to speak. I said I wanted to talk about the problems in District 4 and the 4th District, how they were a bunch of liars in there. And lo and behold, when they called my name in the public comment, I didn't speak. And I didn't speak because I was upstairs with Rick Velasquez. He felt that it better to talk to me than have everybody hear what I had to say. And after a long time talking to him and trying to get somewhere, he ended the meeting. But before he ended the meeting, he did agree to meet me on November 20th, 2017 at the dispensary in Rowland Heights, the same dispensary that he had met me at on May 27, 2005. And I think it's kind of odd to have a chief of staff just to go out there and talk to somebody who isn't.
Thank you.
They didn't have some agreement with over the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jewel D. I'm a networker and advocate at the Baldwin Park Animal Care Center. And I am here to represent several volunteers who are also here with me. And now we have over 1,200 supporters to our petition to let Precious live. Precious is a pit bull, and she has been at the Baldwin Park shelter for over a year. Because she's involved in a legal case, she hasn't been out of her kennel all this time. People are discouraged from interacting with her because of the legal case. And despite all this, we've gotten to know her over the year that she is a sweet dog. There's no aggression that she's ever displayed. We're here today because the County of Los Angeles on October 3rd will make a decision on what happens to Precious, and they're seeking to euthanize Precious. And I'm here to offer two viable and humane alternatives to killing Precious. We have a legitimate 501c3 sanctuary in Washington willing to take her. I have all the information here that you can verify. There's also a second option in Indiana that is offering placement for Precious. So there is a viable option for Precious. It's a 501c3 in line with the Hayden Act. It would be unconscionable to destroy a dog that's so beloved by many volunteers and networkers when there are humane alternatives offered. So we are here to implore that you let Precious live.
Tell me again where Precious is.
It's at the Baldwin Park Animal Care Center.
I think that's in Supervisor Solis's district. So if Cindy or someone from Supervisor Solis's office, will you talk to them and see if we can explore this? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. They'll meet you in the front row. Next speaker, please.
Well, I'm here for the same reason. I'm the owner of Precious. I was here on May 8 asking for help with you guys because it was 3 dogs. It was Precious and the kids. Well, I call them the kids because they're my kids. The babies are dead already. They killed them, but Precious is still alive. And we've been fighting and we've been paying fees every month, $500, $700, for her to be alive. Because for us, she's still our baby, and I just want to plead for her. And I hope this time you guys can help me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Gallstrand. I'm sorry, this is emotional. I volunteer at Baldwin Park, and I can tell you that Precious is a very sweet, gentle dog. People come by banging on the cages. Dogs go by that are aggressive. And Precious never once has responded in a negative way. It's a huge testament to how gentle she is, that she can be in a kennel for a year and still be so sweet. So all we're asking is that she go to a sanctuary. We are not asking that she goes back to the owner or that she be adoptable, but that she be allowed to live her life at a sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goldstrand. You might want to join them in this discussion. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa Vargas. August 12, 2018, my son, Anthony Daniel Vargas, was killed by the East LA Sheriff's Station. We waited 12 hours to find out if it was him. Till this day, I've never been contacted. I've never had any questions. If it wasn't for me calling the mortuary or the morgue, I wouldn't even have known where my son was. Today, I'm here demanding that I get the names of the 2 officers that were involved that killed my son, that some kind of accountability be done, and that I get some answers, because I will be here protesting, I will be here rallying. I have a whole community. I'm a human trafficking outreach specialist. I'm a case manager. I'm a DV and sexual assault advocate, and I'm part of the SART team. So I work in the community. On top of that, I have the whole community that's standing behind me. They know the kind of person that my son was, and the East LA sheriffs have slandered my son's name. I'm here to get justice for my son. I'm here to get justice for his twin. He has a twin brother who is transgender. He's a transgender male. East LA sheriffs called him an animal and pushed him because he was trying to look to see if that was his son. Today I'm here seeking assistance, trying to get some answers, and I will not stop until justice is served. I want names of the officers, and I just want accountability, because if it was me and I went and killed somebody, I would have been in prison a long time ago. Thank you.
And ma'am, what district do you live in?
I live in East Los Angeles.
East LA?
Yes.
All right.
So I'm with Hilda Solis. I've actually worked with her agency many times.
And could we ask you to talk to a member of her staff then to see, because I know that the Civilian Oversight Commission is looking into the issue of notification of parents, both, hospital, morgue, whatever it is. I know we've been interested in the issue. The motion has not come yet, but it's not going to help your own particular case, obviously. But if you talk to Supervisor Solis's representative, maybe we can get some help.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And I'm sorry for your loss. Next speaker, please. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Viridiana Fletes Frias, and I am here to speak on behalf of Precious, whose animal ID is A4933238. I have been a volunteer with the Los Angeles County Department of Animal Care and Control for the last decade. And I just want to say that there are many dedicated, hardworking individuals who silently take it upon themselves to make the world a better, peaceful, and more just place to live. Empowering these individuals through support, advocacy, and legislation ensures that their work can be continued and slowly everyone's collective goals come to fruition. It ensures that they don't just rely on the fire within them to make positive change, because that fire, though powerful, can burn out without the appropriate kindling. This is the case for Jewel D, who was here speaking earlier, and all the volunteers that are here today. Because we're here advocating for one dog, but Precious is not just any dog. She is an emblem of what it means to work for a world worth fighting for, a world that values every living, breathing creature and respects and protects them for the simple fact that they have life. Thank you for hearing us today.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Malva Calderon, and I am the owner of Precious. I was here on May 8th, and thank you for trying to help me as much as you could. My babies were taken on May 10th because I was 19 minutes late to pay for the $5,000 they were asking. Today we have Precious, and I really think, I'm actually pleading to see if you guys can help us give her the opportunity of going to a place where she could be happier. It's not fair that she's been incarcerated all that time when she was innocent. They took the babies. One of them was guilty of biting. It was just one, but she wasn't the one involved, and it was stated also in the investigations that were made. It's stated by an eyewitness that Precious was never even a part of. She was just there barking. I just come to ask you if you can please just give her the opportunity to get freed out of there, because it's not fair for her. She's been there since last year of August. It's more than a year. That's pretty much what I want.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Tanea Meng. I'm also a volunteer at Baldwin Park Animal Care Center. And it's too hard. Precious is a very sweet girl, and I see her with many interactions. I have many videos. I don't feel she's at all aggressive. I'm not the one that fights for every impossible dog, but I feel that she deserves a chance. And if there's people willing to take her and take on the responsibility, and she's in one safe place with people that have the knowledge to interact with these dogs and care for them, then it's only fair that she gets a chance. She's never done anything aggressive in the shelter to anyone, and there's many that do get euthanized that don't get a chance, and we just are begging for a chance for one dog that's never done anything in the shelter, and there's somebody willing to care for her and be responsible for her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Yes, I'm David Armstrong. I'm temporarily living at 11816 on Nevada Avenue, Linwood, California. I've been here 11 times before. I'm here this afternoon to turn in copies of $180 of counterfeit money that was aimed at me to entrap me, and to inform you that I avoided confrontation this morning with 4 teenagers this morning at 10 o'clock sent out by Officer Horace Boatwright at the McDonald's in San Pedro. There's the copies. This is the money right here. I'm trying to avoid confrontation with these people. I don't have anything against the sheriff department. I've been in the service. I was in the service for 4 years. I'm just trying to live my life with a little bit of style, a little bit of class, and that's it. And I just want everybody to know that I'm trying to avoid this confrontation, but I know it's coming, and I just want everybody to be informed of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, hi, my name is Precious Young. I'm here speaking and seeking justice for a good friend of mine named Anthony Vargas. He was killed by the East LA sheriffs. And also, I have 5 children This little guy's name is Aiden. He's the leader. He's going to be the leader of our community. I don't want to be in fear that one of my children can be next or anything like that, because sometimes the color of my skin is a problem or a confrontation. So I don't want my kids to grow up in fear and thinking that they are going to get hurt or can get hurt, because I've seen it too often where children are mistaken for the color of their skin and they get they lose their lives. And I'm just, trying to seek justice and also to bring awareness that there are a lot of programs in our community that give children access to performing arts and different things where they can have outlets to not have to worry about being victims of gang violence or police brutality or homelessness or incarceration. So we're seeking funding and things for our 1% campaign. We are seeking funding to build creative spaces and community centers and different things for our youth so that they can have somewhere to go, so they can stay off the streets and not be victims of being targeted by our community. Not only cops, it's other members in the community as well, and these children don't have outlets and nowhere to go.
Thank you.
So I've mentioned before earlier the issue with Cal Mesa and the grant that we asked for. This is one of the issues that we're talking about, because our youth are being either incarcerated or going 6 feet under. It's kind of hard for us to keep hope alive. So as far as Anthony Vargas, we need the name of the officer. We just got the name of the sheriff who took Anthony Weber's life in February. We just got it last week. So for these officers to be protective after they have done wrong is a double insult. So I ask you for the last time today that you do look into Cal Mesa and many other grants that we apply for that are being denied. If you are not going to fund South LA specifically, Mark, we need your support more than ever, okay? Current Price and Marquise Harris Dawson is taking a little slow boat to China, and we cannot bury any more of our children when we're coming out, giving you proposals, sending you resources, things that we need, and we constantly get the red tape, constantly get the runaround. So I thank you, first off, for having the agenda earlier, 22 and 25, but we need more agendas like this, and we need more action. No more denials. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Ezekiel Reyes. As a two-time cancer survivor, it's actually very trying to make my way all the way over here from Reseda, but I'm going to do it anyway, because unfortunately winter is upon us, and it gets cold. Dropping temperatures compounded by the everyday tormenting levels, hunger, self-loathing, depression only adds to LA's overall mortality rate of the cities and counties most vulnerable, which is the homeless that are actually already homeless. Over the years, I have heard many different statements from hundreds of homeless throughout LA. Texas, North Carolina. I've actually been trying to do a lot of studying up on this whole issue to begin with. What I found out is there has been one explanation hitting all same thing, every single one. And that statement is, if there was only more funds given directly to us, then this or this could have transpired, allowing them to move forward, in a sense. So I'm here today to once again sound like a broken record player. I'm sorry, in regards to trying to see if there could be a possible way in which I found out that I need to be maybe hitting a different level of government in regards to the GR, allocation of funds by GR, for individuals that are already subjected to these tormenting levels, and I would like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wow. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Victor Trujillo. This is the first time I get a minute and a half. You know what? My uncle comes up here and we're complaining. It seems like we're complaining. I have information about a district attorney who was related to the guy that went to kill me in the county jail. I don't want her to get killed, but the guy that supports her is a billionaire. He lives in District 1. In Hilda Solis's district, I didn't want to say nothing, but in Janice's district, District 4, he picks up his tons of cocaine at the harbor. I can make this rattle in 24 hours. That district attorney, what she did to make sure my kids almost got kidnapped, I had people get me out of jail as fast as daylight. And I actually had to stand up. When I complained, I sounded like a broken record, but I played it. You know why? Because I know exactly how to play the fiddle. I was a businessman. I'm very, very smart. And I know how everything functions. And I know what your rules of thumbs are. But when somebody plays me for a fiddle, and then this county and District 5 plays the fiddle, when I find out that she is actually connected to the same family out of Palmdale, Lancaster, the same family is related to a billionaire. My father helped out back in the 70s to start a business. He's a multi-billionaire. Now we have these people killed in Mexico. He's killing the people that come and steal people's business and cocaine. That's how these killings are taking place. Very sad. Wake up, America. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mary, go ahead.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, this is the Dickersons. My husband and I are going to share. This is Ronald Moody. Say hello.
Hello.
My husband's stomach was growling Sunday, and I called the county 211, and within 5 hours they brought us $10 worth of food. And I just want to thank you that, it sounds like I don't appreciate the good things you do, but you do a lot of good, and you don't get appreciated publicly enough. And to be very honest with you, even though we don't like losing our house, the house wasn't worth much because it didn't have good plumbing or electricity, and they have a situation now where they have a receivership, which I don't like because it's costing us $400 per hour, and they may end up depleting all of our equity. But the reality is you kind of saved us from being in a miserable situation, and we're in a happier place now in Mr. Supervisor's Ridley Thomas's area. And it's not bad. It's nice. And we have running water and a bathtub that works, and God bless you. And there's not even homeless people all over the place. So we have a wonderful landlord. What's his name? Reverend Michael Blackwell. And one of these days, I'd like to see you give him a reward for being the best landlord on earth.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That's me. Can I do it? This is my turn. I just want to show you this real quick.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
George Mazzetti. I know Rollin and Mary Jacobs real well. And I'm going to be putting in a public information request to find out how many properties have been taken for free. And there's a reason why your county council is going to be losing their license. Because they don't follow the law. Now, if we're a lawful society and everybody's equal before the law, all you hear are common criminals. The way you treat this man here that I've seen down here and other people that come to you for help and honesty because you are the ones that are supposed to represent us. Only you don't represent the public. You treat them like trash. Just like with SEIU. Your stupid people want to put, you got $800 million extra, SEIU, the 249. You illegally cut off the speaking. You don't have the right to say 5 speakers when you've heard 1,200 before. And 2 weeks ago you heard 125. This is serious what this man talks about and these other people. You don't have the right to take away their rights or my rights. Now, you don't want to fix the mess. I'm going to make sure you find out what the Twin Towers are like. And you women, I hear it ain't real nice in the women's Twin Towers. And if you're common criminals, you deserve the same, don't you?
Thank you.
So, I'm sure you thank me, you fool.
Next speaker, please.
Thank you. Councilman Hahn. Councilwoman, sorry, I'm nervous. I'd like to give my mother the opportunity to just take my time today.
Okay.
All right. I need to ask a question. I have my information written down, what I was actually going to say when I first came. If I give this to you, will all of you read it?
Yes.
Or will it just be thrown in a pile somewhere?
No, if you give it to
Well,
Sergeant,
then I'm going
we
to
will read
deviate
it.
from what I was going to say, and I'm going to ask for some help, okay? I've been trying to help my son with this problem for a long time. And
20 years.
I was on the phone with him when he was told that the health department would not allow him to call there, and therefore I was not allowed to call them either.
Not just
Now,
the health
how
department,
can
the
we-
county of Los Angeles.
and the county. And how are we to get answers to our questions and to our, when we've already put in that he was raped. We've already submitted that to them. We've already asked them to investigate. I was told back in April that they would give me a report in a week. My son would get one. I never got a report. He never got a report. How are we going to get any answers if we can't get them to talk to us? So I'm asking you to help make this happen, that I can go across the street and talk to the department head.
Thank you. And if you will turn that in, we will all have a chance to read it.
But will you actually help me do that? I'm only here for 3 days. So I need you to contact them and tell them I can come in and talk to the head of the department over there. This way you won't have him back every day.
No, you gave her the time.
Oh, but she gets time
I get
too.
time too. I had my name up there. So
Does she get
he
time?
gave he has name up there. I had my name up there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So what I would like to know is, can you contact the health department and say this woman needs to be able to talk to the head of the health department, and she would like to come and talk to you within the next 2 or 3 days, so that we can finally get this put to rest.
Can I say something?
Because otherwise it will never be put
Let your
to
mother
rest.
speak.
What?
I was telling him to let you speak.
So can you do that?
Again, turn it in and we'll take a look at it and see what we can do.
Well, this isn't the request. This is my statement that I was making before, validating that he was raped and that the health department has not supported us and has not come through. And my last thing I'm going to say is this, and I will read it. I hope someone who's ethical will realize what's happened and try to make some kind of restitution to my son. They just go on like nothing happened. Then they're saying that if you have money, power, you're a supervisor, you work for the government, you can do anything you want and get away with it. I thought we'd gone past those days, especially where government was concerned, but maybe not. So I'm asking you, as a board, to contact that health department and let me at least talk to those people and see if we can't resolve the problem.
Thank you.
Do you know what I want? I want my job back. That's it. I was promised that I would get my job back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who do I give this to?
And by the way, I was too afraid to be arrested today. I apologize. I was going to make a stand and do something.
Thank you. That's enough.
But I realized
Next
that
speaker,
doing it would
please.
be hazardous to my health.
Okay. First thing, giving honor to God, honor to the members of the board. My name is Kenneth Batiste. I used to work for the county. My employee number was 230454. I'm going to read this part. I grew up in Compton. My last name is Batiste, Louisiana. I went ahead and graduated from Compton High School, worked for the U.S. Forest Service for 2 years. I left there to pursue a career as a professional basketball player. While I was doing that, I met Mr. Mark's brother. I played over there at Rogers Park. We went ahead and played it many times. While I was in the Forest Service, there was an Al Q that I went ahead and worked with. The point of it is this right here. It came down to this right here. I was perfect for the job when I went into juvenile hall. I went ahead, I have these packages for you. I have nearly 50 accommodations. 50. Not only do I have the 50 accommodations, I have Officer of the Year, voted by the veterans. I went ahead, this was given by the State Assembly for my church. We had a dinner. This was given, I broke the glass. It's a Vicki Barnable Award for the Employee of the Year in the Juvenile Hall. Nothing else was better than me than being a team of someone making it better for a life.
But your time has expired, sir.
Can I make it just real quick, 10 seconds? I had a choice to be terminated or retire. I took the one to go ahead and be terminated because I thought that truth would go ahead and come through. It did not come true. I was fired for, as these peace officers, just real quick.
We'd glad to have somebody talk to you if you tell us which district you're in, sir.
Okay, I'm in Mr. Thomas's district.
All right, Mr. Ridley Thomas will ask one of his staff members to talk to you because
I appreciate that, ma'am, very much. And
we heard your accommodations.
I was going to say thank you very much, and God bless y'all because y'all take a whole lot. Believe me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have two speakers that would like to speak to us from Lancaster. So let's go to Lancaster, please. Welcome.
This is Robert Green talking to you from Lancaster. I live out there in Antelope Valley. I belong to the West Valley County Water District, and I'm a board member. And I went to get water because my water's been locked off, and I have no late bills at all. And I went and got water. Mark Crosby, the general manager, caught me. He said, "Pay your bill." My bill is paid. And he called over Brian and Lisa Valentine and see me. So that's it. And then I took the water and went home. I need it for my toilets. I need it for dishes. I need it for a lot of things. Then the sheriff comes to my place Saturday morning knocking on my door. "Oh, you stole water." I said, "I've been locked off and my bills are paid." Those late bills are false bills. They're not done right. And so I am a type 1 diabetic. I need water. I talked to Anna when I was down there at one time. I never heard back from her. And another guy last Tuesday called me and talked to me. And I'm trying to set up an appointment that I can bring all this evidence in and show it to Catherine Bagger and let her see what's going on. There's a lot of mistakes on these bills. So I want it fixed right. And that's it. I'm done for today. No water still.
Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Hey, how many minutes do I have, madam?
2.5. Minute and a half. That was pretty good.
1.5 minutes?
You ever told me here last meeting?
Go ahead, please begin. Go ahead, you're on.
Okay, hi. Okay, so I'm trying to finish. This sounds like it's about coming to a close. So we started with the receipts for the water bills, the numbers on the rolling number on your receipt and your notice and stuff. I think you guys started that one. And then I also noticed that, like, the variances in the trash, which is sort of weak. It's okay. And then the ratepayers advocate and the taxpayers protections. And so that goes to where my part was, where the gargoyle, you need the protection of the gargoyle. The gargoyle's like this. And then, so you guys have to find out what the gargoyle is. And then, so that's what you need is a gargoyle. I'm sorry, I have to put these things together, but let me just try to, I have missing like 20 seconds or like alike. So the homeless and the vagrants and then crime and prostitution leads to disease and divorce and death, jails and institutions. And then you have like care, choice and custody claims, checks and clarity. And then so the lady should get together, her son with the man, the counselor, hopefully, but he has a disease disorder that he only can understand what's written and like misdiagnosis. Like I said, I was like misdiagnosed lady, madam, mama. And so he needs a counselor, and then you really the gargoyle. You have to get the gargoyle because the symptoms of reducing the symptoms of homelessness. Okay, and I just
Thank you very much. Thank you. Those are all the persons who signed up to speak on public comment. So we'll go then to our adjournments, beginning with Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Madam Chair and colleagues, I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Kwasi Ansah, born December 3, 1978 in Ghana and passed away on September the 16th here in Los Angeles at the age of 39. He relocated to Los Angeles in 2007, and then it was in 2013 he was hired by Harbor UCLA Medical Center, where he worked as a licensed vocational nurse in the inpatient psychiatric unit. Described as being the heart and soul of the inpatient psych unit, he will be remembered for being a true patient advocate. His work as a DJ and his passion for sports, especially soccer and ping pong. He's survived by his parents, a brother, extended family and friends, and Harbor UCLA colleagues who will all miss Kwasi most assuredly. I'd ask that we adjourn in the memory of Barbara Eaton Goldfarb, born July 1, 1938, Colorado. She passed on September the 18th in the city of Glendale. She was 80 years of age. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree at San Diego State University and her Juris Doctorate at Western State University, and relocated to Los Angeles in 1981. Ms. Goldfarb was employed as an attorney for several organizations such as the National Broadcasting Company, Shamrock Broadcasting, Golden West Broadcasting, and the Federal Communications Commission. She was a member of the Southern California Mediation Association, the California Bar Association, and volunteered her services as a seasoned mediator with the City of Los Angeles' dispute resolution program. She will be remembered as an entrepreneur, an enthusiastic football fan, especially for Stanford Cardinals. Great sense of humor. She was a lover of animals and an animal rescue supporter. She's survived by her daughter, Linda, 2 sons, Jamie and Robert, 2 grandchildren, Cutler and Harris, extended family and friends who will most assuredly miss her. Barbara Goldfarb. That concludes my adjournments for the day, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Let's go to the 4th District then for adjournments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in the memory of Edmundo Contreras, who passed away at the age of 61. He was born in 1957 and spent most of his life in San Pedro. He was a graduate of San Pedro High School and was a member of the Laborers Union Local 1309. Ed devoted his life to serving the Lord and supporting his family. He was an active member and scheduled adorer at Mary Star of the Sea Parish. He's survived by his wife Elizabeth and children Nicole, Stephanie, and Jonathan. I also would like us to adjourn in the memory of Paolo Legrande, who passed away at the young age of 91. He was born in 1926 in Sicily, but spent much of his life in San Pedro. He had a long career as a commercial fisherman and was cherished and respected by all who knew him. He is survived by his wife of 67 years, Felicia, 3 daughters, 9 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Barger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that when we adjourn today, we do so in memory of Troy Adam Dudley, a resident of Sunland who passed away at the age of 52. He had a career in the amusement and theme park industry for many years. Troy was widely known for his love of Halloween and his Halloween yard display, which was an annual tradition for 17 years. He was widely also known as empathetic and willing to help those in need. Troy is survived by his beloved partner, B, his father, 2 brothers, and a sister. Also, Kathleen Harrison Ivy, a 55-year resident of the Antelope Valley. She had a 45-year career as a realtor, taking such pride in serving her clients that she was named Realtor of the Year. She served on the AV Board of Realtors and volunteered at multiple charitable organizations. Kathy is survived by her 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Also, Jacqueline Landon, a longtime resident of Pasadena who passed away at the age of 95. She worked as a teacher and later a secretary at the University of Southern California. Jackie was an active member of the community, volunteering with various PTAs, the Pasadena Pi Beta Phi chapter, the Pasadena Women's Golf Association, as a leader and mentor for Campfire Girls. Having overcome breast cancer diagnosis, Jackie lived a long and fulfilling life. She truly embodied her saying of being a Jacqueline of all trades. Jackie is survived by her daughter, a son, 3 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. And last, that we adjourn in memory of Dr. J. Noble, a longtime resident of Arcadia who passed away at the age of 83. Jay earned his medical degree from Cornell University, and upon completion of his residency, he served in the United States Army. While stationed in Korea, he became the chief of medicine. Upon completing his service, Jay settled in Arcadia, where he established a medical practice and was ultimately named chief of staff at Methodist Hospital in Arcadia. At Methodist Hospital, Jay was a mentor to fellow medical professionals and also met his wife of 30 years, Sandy. Jay is survived by his wife, 8 children, and 17 grandchildren. Those are my adjournments.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis. All right. For the 3rd District, I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Joseph Charles Abdo. Joe Abdo died September 15th, spent 26 years living in Portugal, where he crafted traditional Portuguese tiles, taught English to licensed tour guides, wrote for travel magazines, had a walking tour business, worked as an interpreter, was the administrator of the British Hospital, and acted in the British theater. He wrote 5 books, 2 travel guides to Lisbon, History of the First Christians in Tibet, a history of the multi-generational Dabney family of American diplomats in the Azores, and a biography of Samuel Longfellow, brother of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. In retirement, he returned to Hollywood and was a proud and active member of SAG-AFTRA. He also volunteered in many capacities, feeding the homeless, reading to kindergartners, and serving as a member of the LA City Neighborhood Council in Hollywood. He's survived by his ex-wife, Judy Abdo, and his brother, George. And I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Donahue Lee Wildman. Don Wildman, who died on September 16th. He built the health club that would become Bally's Total Fitness, the world's largest health club chain. And he's credited with building the health club industry through celebrity-based advertising, group exercise classes to music, circuit training, and other fitness innovations. In a 2008 profile, Esquire magazine dubbed him the world's healthiest 75-year-old man. He's survived by his wife, Namisha, and his 3 sons, Don Jr., Bill, and John. And I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Jack LeCount, a drummer and percussionist who died on September 16th. He performed with Anita O'Day, with Bette Midler, Art Garfunkel, Stevie Wonder, Mel Torme, Madonna, John Tesh, Liza Minnelli, and many others. In 2016, he received the Living Jazz Legend Award from the Duke Ellington Society and the Living Legend Foundation. He's survived by his wife, Donna, and his stepdaughter, Tara. And finally, I move that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Pasquale Buba, who trained as a clarinetist at Carnegie Mellon, but ultimately became a celebrated film editor and a member of the American Cinema Editors, teaming up with George Romero, Martin Scorsese, Al Pacino, Johnny Depp, and Michael Mann. He won Best Edited Documentary in 1996 for Looking for Richard, directed by Al Pacino. He's survived by his wife, Zilla Clinton, and his brother, Anthony.